The protagonist of the story, named Hanji, was one of the best players. From a game called Apocalypse. There, he formed a team and trained hard to become the strongest. Years later, he finally reached the point where he was just one step away from defeating the final boss. Along with his team, they managed to kill the last dragon, and Hanji obtained the final fragment of the scroll, the legendary Dragon Blood. Just when he thought he had achieved everything he wanted and would use the scroll, it would make him the most powerful player in the game. Everything went wrong. His best friend and his girlfriend betrayed him and killed him, taking the scroll. Because of this, Lu Chen's attack hit Hanji hard, taking away 32 million health points. The system confirmed that Hanji was dead, with no chance of resurrection. A bit of context. This wasn't real. It was the world of Apocalypse, a virtual reality game that brought together the best game designers and took 5 years and billions of dollars to develop. The game was set in a future where alien monsters attacked Earth through wormholes, causing humans and other creatures to mutate. If people didn't play, they were killed by the system and turned into NPCs. No one wanted that, so everyone joined the game, but after the open beta, players faced a serious problem. They couldn't log out and were forced to stay in the game forever. Hanji had been trapped in Apocalypse for 8 years and couldn't accept the betrayal. Suddenly, he opens his eyes in a dark room and realises he has been reborn on 08/28/2025, just before the game's launch. He is confused because at that time, the game hadn't been announced yet. Soon he realises he has travelled back in time to a point when Apocalypse wasn't public yet. Hanji is determined to make Moon pay by taking his life. He sits in front of his computer, knowing he needs to find the divine talent cards scattered around the world before the game starts. These rare cards grant divine talents that can only be activated by finding them in real life. The game developers in the Fortuna Group released 10 talent cards randomly placed in different locations around the world. Thanks to his past experiences, Hanji knows the first card is on the top floor of the Hinmao building, the tallest mall in Linai City. Without hesitation, he runs there and indeed finds the card right where he expected. But just as he is about to take it, someone stops him. It's Lu Chen, the young master of the building and heir to the city's largest real estate group. He claims both the building and the card belong to him. Hanji ignores his warning and approaches the card, but Lu Chen surrounds him with guards, determined to teach him a lesson for trying to take something that isn't his. Hanji moves quickly, eyes fixed on the card. Moon orders his guards to shoot. Bullets fly toward Hanji, but he manages to dodge them. He moves like an arrow, knowing exactly when the game will start and how to steal the card. When he reaches it, he jumps into the air and grabs it. Seeing this, Moon yells, warning him not to take it. Just as Hanji holds the card, Moon shoots at him. The bullet speeds toward him, but just before it hits, time stops. The bullet freezes inches from his face. Everything around him freezes, and it's exactly 12 Orju. The game has started again. A familiar system panel appears before him, asking if he wants to log into the Apocalypse game. Without hesitation, he confirms and is teleported elsewhere. At the same time, players worldwide are being pulled into the virtual world. Hanji, however, is teleported to a place he recognises from his past life, the game's starting point. His eyes fix on a glowing divine talent card, and he walks toward it. Before he can take it, feathers fall from the sky and a small spirit appears. The spirit introduces itself as the system spirit assigned to him. At the same time, Hanji's attribute panel shows he has obtained a divine talent card and a powerful skill called Copy, which allows him to copy other players' talents. The skill has a cooldown time of 1 hour. Hanji must choose one of 3 races, elf, beast, or human. In his past life, he chose the human race for a 20% increase in prestige income, an important detail in the Apocalypse game. However, this time, he's not sure what he wants to choose. Then the little spirit notices something hidden inside him, the Dragon Blood scroll that was given to him in his past life. The spirit pulls out the scroll. This surprises Hanji. The item he desired most ended up in Hanji's hands anyway. Suddenly, a roar snaps him out of his thoughts. It's a dragon. Hanji turns and sees a large triangular-shaped door. It's a hidden dragon camp, probably unlocked because he has the Dragon Blood Scroll. He's confused because he's never seen this faction before, but decides to activate the scroll by opening the door. Upon crossing it, he is teleported again. This time, to a place full of players arguing about the game. Hanji opens his control panel to check his stats and discovers he has an exclusive passive skill of the dragon race, which is very powerful. The Infernal Dragon Flame skill is a level 6 passive skill with a gold grade. Every time Hanji performs a normal attack, there is a 1.1% chance to summon an infernal dragon. When this dragon appears, it deals 150% of Hanji's attack power as true damage to all enemies within range. Although the chance is low, its effect is almost as strong as a divine talent. Now Hanji needs to get familiar with his divine rank talent, and to do that he must find someone to copy and test it on. Noises come from a ruined carriage, so Hanji quickly heads toward the sound. At that moment, his attention is caught by a bald guy in front of him. This bald guy calms down. Another player telling him not to worry, that if he's been paired with him, everything will be fine. Hanji acts smart and approaches him, touching his shoulder. But when the guy shakes his hand, Hanji apologizes and pretends to have mistaken him for someone else, using that as an excuse to get close enough and activate his skill. That's exactly what he does. The system congratulates him for successfully copying and grants him an epic level talent, Treasure Hunter, which allows players to detect treasures within a 500-meter radius. Hanji's face lights up with joy as it's an epic level talent. Just then, an announcement welcomes players to the world of Apocalypse. At that moment, a man in front of a computer screen continues the announcement, encouraging players to enjoy the game, addressing them as my warriors. When the announcement ends, a sly smile appears at the corner of his lips. Back in the game, the same bald guy whose skills Hanji copied plans to have no teammates, as he is full of pride and blindly trusts his own abilities. He decides to venture alone, though Hanji immediately stops him and kindly reminds him not to act recklessly, since it could be very dangerous out there. Carelessly, the bald guy pushes him and accuses him of being a coward. After all, it's only a game. Then he climbs through a window, jumps, and arrogantly mocks the other players, telling them to just watch him play. Then he jumps out the window. But before even touching the ground, he falls straight into the mouth of a giant spider, waiting for players below. The bald guy disappears immediately, and the system announces, player number 3, 580, hectares, has been killed. There is no chance of resurrection. The announcement feels like a death threat to the other players, who are now terrified. As panic takes over the atmosphere, Hanji can't help but shout to everyone that this is not a normal game. He continues explaining that if they die here, they also die in real life. This is a battle of life or death, finally. The players understand this is not just a simple game. However, the system continues with the first mission, which is to find the safe zone. The instructions are to follow the minimap to locate safe zone number 886 in District B of OP Town. In OP Town, their safety will be fairly guaranteed. The reward for completing the mission is an extra resurrection chance. The punishment for failure is death. The remaining time is 3 hours and 58 minutes, while all the players, they are terrified and unsure what to do. Hanji quickly runs to the back of the carriage, relying on memories from his past life. He remembers that someone in the 7th wagon used a safety hammer as a weapon, and sure enough, there it is. Taking the weapon in his hands, he clearly recalls it turned out to be a disguised blue quality weapon, which is why the other players were very envious, just as he predicted. As soon as he touches it, the hammer transforms into a sharp weapon. It's an icy sword made of meteoric iron. But that's not all. He precisely remembers there's also a treasure chest hidden in that wagon, so he activates his treasure hunter talent. The chest appears just under a seat. He crouches to grab the box and upon opening it, finds a blue quality dragon breath potion containing a very powerful dragon's breath. With everything ready, Hanji wastes no time and jumps out the window. The moment he jumps, he tempers his icy sword and carves a bloody path through the spiders. Thanks to the superior attributes of the Hidden Dragon clan, everyone who sees the weapon in his hand can't help but comment on how amazing this guy is. Even though they know that surrounded by so many spiders, even someone with a legendary weapon has to perform very well. Hanji doesn't care and keeps fighting the spiders. The human presence attracts even more creatures. Players at the respawn point think Hanji is courting death. Meanwhile, Hanji wants to lure even more spiders. When the creatures fully surround him, he stops instantly, pulls out the dragon breath potion ready for those monsters to taste its power. Instead of drinking it, he throws it directly at the monsters. The bottle hits a spider's leg and breaks, causing a huge burst of flames that trap the spiders. System notifications appear non-stop as he keeps leveling up, receiving 50 copper coins and health potions. Hanji holds the items in his hand, feeling lucky and hoping to get a few more dragon breath potions. Meanwhile, players watch as he easily wipes out tons of spiders and can't believe it. They think he's definitely cheating, but at the same time, some players consider teaming up with him, feeling this guy is very powerful and has a superior background. After finishing off those monsters, Hanji continues his path alone, deciding to follow the map toward Uptown, leaving behind the envious and competitive ones. Suddenly, a man appears, running straight toward Hanji. The man falls to his knees and begs him to help save his daughter, who has been captured by monsters. Hanji's expression doesn't change in the slightest. In his mind, he recalls how in his past life, many people had problems in that dense forest, but he also knows there should be many valuable things hidden inside, so he agrees to follow the man, unaware that behind that distraught and crying individual hides a demon with a wicked smile. Hanji begins searching for the man's lost daughter, but after walking a while, he feels something is wrong. He calls the man to ask exactly where his daughter got lost, since the forest ahead is very large. In the distance, he sees faint flashes among the forest shadows. But when he turns around and hears no answer, the man has disappeared without a trace. At first, Hanji looks around confused, wondering where the guy went, feeling a strange unease in his chest. Still, he ignores those negative thoughts and keeps moving forward. Deep down, Hanji clearly feels eyes watching him from the darkness, but pretends not to notice. The deeper he goes into the forest, the more clearly he hears the sobbing of a girl calling for her mother. Following the sound, he ends up finding the girl tightly hugging a lollipop. Hanji approaches, crouches slightly, and advises her not to stay there alone, since it's dangerous. He decides to take her away. But just at that moment, a well-proportioned woman suddenly appears, and beside her is the same man from before. Sweat drops cover Hanji's face, as it was all a trap to capture another prey. Hanji senses a dangerous aura emanating from that woman, but his attention is interrupted by a system announcement: hidden mission. Rescue the girl from the dark forest and bring her back to Opetown. The reward is Thalia's ring. The penalty for failure is none, and the remaining time to complete the mission is 59 minutes. Hanji's thoughts drift to his past life. Several teams activated this hidden mission while exploring the dark forest, and the rewards and experience points earned made many other players jealous. So he can't let this opportunity pass. Without hesitation, he accepts the mission. The woman licked her lips, unable to resist the human scent. Suddenly, her body begins to transform. A clawed hand reaches out in front of Hanji. What he sees is a half-human-shaped spider emanating an unusual aura from its entire body. The woman threatens them to behave and be her food. However, the girl, seeing the beautiful spider's appearance, starts crying even louder. That's why Hanji quickly stands in front of her to protect her, and he assures her to wait for her big brother, who will get her out of there immediately. After comforting her, he draws his weapon, the same ice sword, and lunges at the spider demon. He swings his sword and tries to strike its leg, but it has no effect. The creature's skin is too tough. The beautiful spider laughs madly, knowing that Hanji's physical attacks don't harm her. Then she delivers a deadly kick with one of her legs, but Hanji manages to deflect it with his ice sword, sliding backward. At that moment, the little spirit appears with a worried expression and explains to him that the beautiful spider is a level 20 boss. It's impossible to defeat her with his current strength, so he should abandon the mission and get out of there. Hearing this, Hanji looks at the girl crying beside him. Running away is simply something he refuses to do. The little spirit lowers its head slightly, offering him a way to survive. But just at that moment, something awakens inside him. He orders the spirit not to decide or predict his fate so easily, and he rushes forward at full speed with his eyes fixed on killing the monster. Seeing the level 20 boss, he remembers having seen a hidden treasure chest on the global channel in his past life. Maybe that skill book is the way to beat her. With this thought, he quickly activates his treasure hunter talent. A golden gleam flashes in his eyes. The chest is in a tree, but in an instant, the beautiful spider appears right in front of him, spreading her legs to surround him and try to trap him in a pincer. Hanji's agility saves him this time. He quickly retreats. If even one of her legs had caught him, it would have been the end. So he needs to be very careful and stay calm no matter what happens. Observing his body language, the beautiful spider realizes his target is not her, but something else. Somehow, Hanji manages to quickly reach the chest. The spider turns and sees him opening it. An electric shock shoots from her palm to attack him, but it's already too late. Hanji has successfully opened the chest, and he obtains the blue quality skill book, Lightning Chain. Realizing it's a hidden skill, Hanji feels extremely happy to unleash bolts that bounce between enemies, dealing 200 magic damage per enemy defeated. Also, Lightning Chain's damage increases by 10% for every unit killed. While celebrating, Hanji doesn't realize that the spider's minions are surrounding him, and that the beautiful spider is gathering a ball of electric energy to attack him. She shouts furiously, ordering to destroy him without wasting a second. Hanji places his hand on the skill book and absorbs its energy. A powerful lightning bolt also forms from his palm. It's an area attack lightning chain. The spider's jaw drops in shock. A terrifying lightning bolt is unleashed. Thanks to the technique learned from the skill book, the lightning falls, destroying the woman's limbs. Hanji can't help but smile with satisfaction. After making her taste the power of this incredibly strong attack, she disappears. The system congratulates Hanji for completing the hidden mission and obtaining as a reward an epic item, the Venom Fang Dagger, made with venomous spider fangs, that causes 20 poison damage per second to enemies. Continuing on his path, Hanji happily guides the girl back to Opetown. As soon as they enter Opetown, familiar faces watch them. None other than Moon and his subordinates. One of them points at Hanji and reminds Moon that he is the same guy who stole his divine talent card. Moon's face turns red as a tomato. He clenches his teeth, tightens his fists, and orders his men to send someone to watch him. Ignoring the hateful stares, Hanji takes the girl's hand and walks toward the village. It's night, but the activity hasn't stopped. The girl looks at him with innocent eyes and thanks him for safely bringing her home. Just after the girl disappears, the system congratulates Hanji for completing the hidden mission and earning the reward. The Talia ring, which increases luck, points by 55. Hanji is excited to see the golden ring shining on his hand. It's even an item that can boost luck in the middle of the apocalypse, and luck is an extremely rare attribute. The higher the player's luck value, the more generous the mission rewards. Despite that, his attention is diverted when a voice interrupts him. Following the sound, he finds a blacksmith working diligently and energetically, promoting his enhancement skills. Watching him work, Hanji can't help but wonder if he's cheating, because how could he have such a high success rate in enhancements? Then the man beside the blacksmith explains that his talent is enhancement and forging. After a while of diligent work, the blacksmith holds a shining sword in his hand. Everyone is impressed by his skill, amazed at how he managed to forge such a powerful item. Hanji decides to try, so he taps the blacksmith's shoulder and successfully copies the epic enhancement talent and forging. The equipment enhancement success rate increases by 50%. Then he takes out his Venom Fang dagger, places it on the surface, and raises his hammer. Each hit counts as a successful enhancement, and in no time he upgrades the dagger from level 2 to level 5. With this talent, he no longer has to worry about equipment enhancements in the future. It could even be a business opportunity. People around are shocked to see someone with an epic weapon enhanced to +1, 5. Everyone knows that +1.5 is very rare, especially on an epic quality weapon, which is almost unbelievable. Their expressions mix envy and curiosity. Suddenly, sweat starts running down Hanji's face. His vision blurs. He gasps and loosens his neck. Finding it hard to breathe, he can only listen to the people's conversations. At that moment, the same little spirit appears, reminding him that his fatigue value has nearly reached the limit, so he must head to the nearest tavern to rest. So Hanji decides to rest first before leveling up outside the city. But in a hidden corner, someone watches him secretly. Hanji easily finds a tavern, a special place for players to rest and recover after a battle. Upon entering, he places a gold coin and asks the receptionist for a room. On his way to the room, he overhears a conversation between a boy and a girl. The boy asks if she's seen the World Channel and mentions that someone completed a hidden mission in the dark forest. The girl replies that the person is very lucky and even received an epic quality weapon. In his thoughts, Hanji believes luck is also part of strength, but he will use his strength to attract good luck. Later in the tavern room, Hanji lies on the bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about quickly reaching level 20, because only then can he learn more powerful skills. When players reach level 20, they can choose a specialization from 7 professions: Knight Berserker, Assassin Mage, Archer Priest, or Beast Tamer. Thinking of the one who caused his death in his past life, the desire for revenge fills his gaze. The next morning, he leaves the inn and walks through the forest for a while, but suddenly stops upon sensing a presence. He tells them to stop hiding and come out. Then a group of people emerges from the bushes, led by Moon. Moon smirks arrogantly, calling him lucky one last time, and challenges him to run again to test his luck. Each of his men shows aggression. Before Hanji can respond, Moon signals his men to attack him. However, Hanji calmly activated forced mark mode, raised his hand, and fired a lightning bolt. Hanji is confident. He planned to show off his new skill Lightning Chain, and this definitely seemed like the perfect moment, but strangely, the lightning weakens and disappears completely. Hanji panics, wondering if he has been silenced right at that moment. He notices a guy with a cloak standing next to Moon. It is he who disabled Hanji from using his abilities. It's an alarming situation for Hanji. As panic shows on his face, Moon suggests he accept his fate immediately. A member of the group lunges forward. He throws a punch aimed at Hanji, but Hanji stands firm with a mysterious smile on his lips. The entire group is shocked to realise Hanji takes no damage and that his gear is top-notch. Their damage isn't high enough. Frustrated Moon summons his weapon, a blue quality bow. Enhanced to +15 level, when shot, the arrow quickly splits into countless arrows. But Hanji remains unfazed. A few scratches appear on his face, yet he keeps smiling. The total number of arrows exceeds 100, triggering a special condition, a summon that can bring forth an infernal dragon. The dragon, with huge wings and red flames, appears beside Hanji and roars, shaking everything around. Frightened, the group tries to flee, but they are frozen by Hanji under his master's command. The dragon attacks them with a combined skill, including an area attack and infernal dragon flames. In an instant, Moon's group vanishes, leaving behind only a few pieces of gear. Hanji smiles. Hanji picks up Moon's weapon, and with the gained experience and gear levels up straight to level 20. The item he just obtained is a blue quality bow, called the Silver Moon Bow, enhanced to +15 level. The arrow splits into 100. When shot, it falls like meteors. Finally, the system congratulates him on reaching level 20 and allows him to proceed to the main game to find a class change officer and start the class change trial. At the reincarnation fountain in Hope Village Moon, and his group appear there. Players who have revival opportunities respawn at the nearest resurrection fountain after dying at that moment. Hanji walks around admiring the silver moon bow he just got. Moon turns red with rage. His blood boils as he threatens to take revenge someday, but Hanji is lost in thought and completely ignores him, heading straight to the main gate. There he finds an NPC for class changes. Upon arrival, he informs the NPC of his desire to change class. The NPC raises a hand. A red vortex appears, opening the class change palace. Upon entering, it feels like he has been teleported somewhere else. He stands in a completely unknown place, looking around. He sees 7 figures, clearly representing the 7 apocalypse professions: Knight Berserker, Assassin, Mage, Archer-Priest, and Beast Tamer. Among the 7, the Beast Tamer is the least popular class. He approaches an old man wrapped in a cloak who represents the Tamer, although a Beast Tamer can summon magical beasts to fight and tank for him. Raising magical beasts is not an easy task. His mind races with countless thoughts, unsure of what to do, but he remembers he doesn't want to choose Beast Tamer. The moment one starts raising beasts, the tamer has to share resources with them, and in the apocalypse, resources are scarce, which later stunts the tamer's growth in the game. This leads to eventual elimination, although only knights and tamers are suitable for the dragon race. The knight isn't a bad option either, but it's a class that only shines in early game and is quite weak in late game. Many knights fell quickly in their past lives upon reaching advanced stages. But the explosive tamer is different. Hanji has divine talent and can gather resources 10 times faster than other players, even obtaining a dragon companion later, thanks to his race. Eventually, he will have a balanced team. Suddenly, the old man opens his eyes, revealing that he has been waiting for a long time. When the profession confirmation panel appears, the spirit shows up again for you to reconsider your decision. But Hanji has already made up his mind, so he chooses to become a Beast Tamer. Upon becoming a Beast Tamer, the elder touches his forehead, and a purple light transfers to his body. A purple mark appears on his forehead, radiating purple light. Even a silver ring appears on his finger, and he is teleported back to the village. The class change NPC congratulates him for completing his profession at that moment. Players pass by, catching Hanji's attention. One reminds the other how he had warned about how dangerous the undead village was. It turns out they were wiped out before encountering an elite monster, losing a lot of gear. Hearing this, his interest grows, and he recalls the undead village, the very first dungeon he completed in his past life. He wants to form a proper team that, combined with his past experience, can kill the boss in minutes. Meanwhile, a nearby group of players calls for anyone level 20 who has completed their class change to form a group and head to the undead village. Only 2 spots remain. It's first come first served. A girl with a cloak approaches, asking if there's space. Seeing a beautiful mage, she is warmly welcomed. Taking the opportunity, Hanji steps forward, eager to join as well. The boy looks at him with disdain, assuming that Hanji, as a new Beast Tamer, has worse skills, but since one player was missing, he lets him join. In the undead village, desolate graves surround them. The boy turns and asks Hanji if he hasn't seen the world chat, since Beast Tamers have the lowest attack among the 7 main classes. Basically, he's trying to mock him. Embarrassed, Hanji excuses himself, saying maybe he just likes animals. Suddenly, an arrow flies toward them at high speed. The girl with the cloak and Hanji react just in time, dodging the arrow, which crashes into the ground. The whole group takes position as enemies approach to attack. Countless skeletons emerge from the graves surrounding the group. One of the boys swings his sword and cuts the skeletons in half, but from behind, 2 more skeletons suddenly attack him. Meanwhile, the girl with the cloak has taken off her cloak, tightens her weapon, and casts fireballs using her arcane mastery skill. Flames burst on the surface, and the skeletons wrap in fire, but in an instant, a skeleton appears from behind and presses a dagger to the girl's throat, catching her completely off guard. Seeing this, the ring on Hanji's hand emits a purple light, the same light transferred by the Beast Tamir representative. Countless black crows appear, unleashing an ominous aura that scares everyone around them. Purple lightning radiates from Hanji around them, similar to what he had unleashed before. It turns out Hanji used his crow summoning skill, a basic beast tamer ability, to call a flock of crows that disrupt and attack the opponent, causing 50 points of magic damage. The crows continuously strike the skeletons with terrifying lightning burning and paralyzing them. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Hanji runs to the skeleton and easily cuts off its head. The girl is surprised by his skills and tries to thank him, but suddenly Hanji grabs her hand and pulls her toward where the others are running. Since they are undead, they will soon resurrect, so they need to get out quickly. As everyone runs, they soon find themselves in front of an ancient castle. Hanji reminds them the boss is inside. The knights will tank, and the girl and Hanji as DPS will focus on dealing damage from behind. The rest must avoid AoE spells. In the boss fight's second phase, the boy who accepted them into the group earlier finds something suspicious, as Hanji seems very familiar with this. But Hanji nervously laughs and denies that this is anything more than his experience from previous games. After the discussion, Hanji takes the lead and heads off, straight toward the castle door. Meanwhile, the whole group notices the Venom Fang dagger, so they quickly open the system and check the weapon's stats. The man in the green robe can't believe it. A level 15 Venom Fang dagger. How can a rookie be using an epic weapon and also know the basics? He's lying. His mind races with a ton of questions. The boy's evil mind takes control of him, assuming Hanji must have many more good items. It looks like they've hit the jackpot at once. Hanji opens the castle door and everyone goes inside. The place is quite dark, surrounded by lit lamps. In the centre, there's a throne barely visible because of the darkness. The mage stays close to Hanji, but just to be safe, he announces that everyone should stick close, as this place could be quite dangerous. Instantly, the other guys in the group show sinister smiles. With a crash, the castle door shuts. The mage and Hanji panic out of fear. The players' voices echo through the door crack, saying, "Stay calm, we'll be back soon." The mage shouts fearfully for them to stop, but Hanji realizes they've fallen into a trap as they've joined forces with a group of player killers. They plan to use the boss to get rid of both of them and monopolize the experience and rewards. However, now it's already too late. The sound of chains moving rumbles in the room in front of them. Smoke rises, revealing a huge structure. The boss is already here. A large, sharp ice shard appears in the air, quickly grabbing the mage's wrist. They move away from that spot, dodging the attack. The heavy ice ends up hitting the ground and shattering into pieces. The mage looks at the destruction, sighs in relief, and expresses her gratitude to Hanji for saving her again. Suddenly, ice rises from beneath their feet. Before they can understand what's happening, a level 30 giant, a necromancer with sharp fangs, appears in front of them. He floats in the air, raises his hands, and summons 2 large ice balls that fall on them, hitting them one by one from above. Hanji panics, since without a tank, they can't withstand the boss's damage. At the same time, the mage places her hand on the ground, forming a purple magic circle. Spirits with cloaks and dark purple eyes emerge from that circle. Suddenly, Hanji can't believe what he sees. Noticing his surprise, the girl explains. These are undead soldiers summoned by her undead summoner talent, but they won't last long, so we have to think of a way to escape. The undead soldiers merge, creating a barrier. Through the system, Hanji learns about the divine rank undead summoning talent card, which summons Apocalypse, dead, to fight for 5 minutes. As the minutes pass, the barrier begins to crack. Looking at the mage, he asks her to buy some time. Finding no other option, Hanji immediately uses his lightning chain skill sending a shockwave. Knowing the boss's weakness, the mage decides to cover him by casting multiple fireball spells, sending powerful fireballs forward and continuing to summon the undead soldiers. The undead soldiers swing their weapons, attacking the boss. However, at that moment, Hanji notices a gem on his necklace, which is the necromancer's energy source, and at the same time, his greatest weakness. Smartly, Hanji extends his hand, summons a group of crows, and grabs one's leg. The crow flies higher. The tension in the air rises as Hanji jumps, swinging his dagger hard toward the boss. The boss roars in pain, but the gem on his necklace cracks. After that powerful hit, Hanji lands on the ground. The system congratulates him for killing the boss, the necromancer, and for leveling up to 25. He even gets an epic item, a radiant staff, that can be used at level 30. It releases a blast of icy wind to freeze enemies within a 100-meter radius for 5 seconds, causing 500 points of magic damage. Right after that, he hands it over to the mage, since it's a weapon for mages, and a beast tamer like him couldn't use it outside the castle. The 3 merchants assume the players are probably dead, since everything inside is silent. They decide to enter the castle again to look for loot. Just as they're about to push the door, Hanji kicks it so hard it breaks. The 3 guys stand stunned, obviously disappointed to see them alive. But one of the guys in the green robe remains greedy, claiming they must be tired after defeating the boss. So he lunges at them to attack, wielding his weapon without hesitation. Hanji extends his arm to protect the girl, his eyes, filled with rage, demanding to know the reason behind his teammate's betrayal. Seeing the wicked smile, he recognizes him as Lucian, the very same Lucian who made him believe he should support him no matter what, and like him. This guy is also betraying his teammates. Hanji takes the mage's hand, touching it, which makes her cheeks blush. But this handshake worked. Hanji managed to copy the undead summoner's divine skill. Just as the man in the green robe swings his weapon, a magic circle forms beneath Hanji's feet. To everyone's surprise, he summons the very necromancer he just defeated. The necromancer freezes the 3 traitors, and they gradually vanish. The system announces that players Hanwon, Bayu, and Guqi have been killed by the necromancer with no chance of resurrection. Suddenly, Hanji's vision blurs. Drops of sweat fall from his forehead. He loses consciousness and falls to the ground, but the girl helps him before he completely faints. He manages to see the worried face of the mage at that moment. The system also announces that the player's fatigue value has reached the limit, so he needs to reach the nearest resting point. Completely unconscious, he has a dream where the system congratulates him for passing the stage. Hanji ranks second on the leaderboard. Memories flood Hanji's dream. Little G is sitting on the sofa, complaining to his father about his boring toys and wishing for a new game to keep him busy. His father promises to give him a new game once he can beat his highest score. His face lights up with joy. Then his father takes his things and starts to leave. Hanji watches him leave, thinking about how he's trapped in a game and may never have a chance to play with his father's game in the room. Hanji finally wakes up. His head hurts badly. As he pours water, he notices a letter on the table. Quickly, he opens the letter and reads that the Moj Yarujan thanks him for saving her life. She also informs him in the letter that by the time he reads this, she will have already left in search of her brother. She left him a storage ring with the items of those guys that might be useful to him in the future. She believes fate will allow them to meet again. Hanji examines the ring while murmuring the mage's name. After opening the character ring, Hanji is surprised to see that these people have been killing various players since the whole team is made up of different types. He takes a sip of water, relieved that at least he won't have to worry about the team. The only thing left is a magical beast. He carefully studies the map in his mind, thinking that if he remembers correctly, the misty area to the north is the hidden dungeon, the Dragon King's tomb, the only pre-level 40 dungeon that drops magical beasts. But this instance isn't easy. It would be a problem if his teammates were unreliable, like How 1. The next morning, Hanji walks through Opa Village, constantly thinking about finding reliable teammates. Just then, his gaze meets a girl offering people to join her guild, promising many benefits, like leveling up fighting monsters and helping each other, mutually in the dungeons. Realizing how foolish he was, Hanji wonders why he didn't think of a guild. In his past life, he joined Moon as soon as he entered the game and forgot that a guild is the best way to recruit skilled players. Upon entering the guild building, he meets the receptionist, who asks him for the name of his new guild. Hanji remembers what his father once told him. The game's creator is also the god of the game, and the players are always challengers, defying God, so the only way to win is to become a godslayer. Hanji ends up naming his guild Godslayers. The receptionist suggests he gather his teammates right away. Hanji's mind wanders. He has to hand out flyers on the street, but he can't recruit people randomly. He needs to go somewhere with more experts. Based on what happened in his past life, there was a combat trial. After the first survival mission, he decides to participate in the combat trial. All the region's experts will be there. A special mission notification has been sent to players about the combat trial. It's to welcome players. Ope Town is holding its first one-on-one combat trial. Players who have completed their class change can participate, and the winner will receive generous rewards. The reward includes 100 gold coins and a rare skill book as soon as they receive this notification. Hanji hesitates to accept, but all players join after accepting. They are teleported by the system to a large arena. A host welcomes everyone to the first trial. A one-on-one in the Sky Battle Arena. All players line up in sequential order. Hanji watches the other players. They all have higher levels than him. He realizes he's been asleep for quite a while, and this is definitely a wake-up call. However, his attention is drawn away when he hears voices cheering and shouting for someone to kill. Turning around, he sees a boy named Senin running forward with his weapon to attack his opponent. Meanwhile, his opponent Gucci, with long hair and bloodshot eyes, absorbs the energy from Senin's sword while his body floats in the air. Blue energy radiates from him and his weapon, now replaced by a mysterious purple energy. Below him, the endless argument and cheers continue. The crowd is stunned to see the mage not even move in front of his opponent. Gucci has used Shadow Prison, an exclusive level 4 skill that traps the enemy in front of him and inflicts shadow damage. The duration of the imprisonment and damage increase with skill level. Frustrated by the humiliation, Senin starts negotiating with money, asking if 1 million would be enough for his opponent to lose, claiming he will immediately credit that amount to his account. The million makes him remember his past. Back then, if only he had 1 million, the company would have continued and not gone bankrupt. He sat silently, looking at the painting. His heart sank. It was a painting his daughter had drawn. He thought if he had money, he wouldn't have ended up with a broken family. He was standing on the rooftop edge, thinking of ending his life. The familiar system chimes sounded, giving him an option to log into the apocalypse, and that's how he joined the game. Since he had nowhere to return in reality, he promises Senin that he will never lose or give up again, and that he will never let him experience failure in his life again. So he points his palm at Senin, unleashing lightning that sends him to death. The system congratulates Gucci for defeating Senin and successfully advancing at this moment. He looks around, intending to defeat everyone, and at the same time, Hanji understands this guy is really something else. Meanwhile, the random assignment for the first round of the duel trial has been completed. Hanji has been matched with a boy named Dan Fong and is now asked to go to the designated place for the duel. Within the specified time, Hanji saw this name on the World Channel. In his past life, he could clear all kinds of difficult dungeons alone. If he could recruit him for God, it would be a win-win situation for Hanji. In arena number 20, Dan Fong, a level 35, Knight, was already sitting there waiting. Hanji panics since the game has barely started and the guy is already at such a high level. Dan Fong stands with a 10-level advantage and gives Hanji the chance to make the first move. Otherwise, it would seem like he's taking advantage of him by acting this way. Hanji feels a bit annoyed and advises him to stop underestimating him. The winner is not decided yet. Meanwhile, Hanji is summoning crows. Dan Fong reaches out for his sword, praising Hanji's confidence, taking a defensive stance, and using his Guardian Sword skill, a level 4 exclusive knight skill that can summon multiple sword souls. Each sword soul can withstand 500 damage and reflect the damage back to the enemy. The number of sword souls increases with skill level without even letting him attack. Dan Fong launches his powerful strike, and Hanji ends up taking reflected damage from the Guardian Sword skill. He lost 200 HP. It was all a trap. Asking him to attack first made him frown. Worried if he wants to hurt him, he must break the 4 sword souls. Each sword soul can withstand up to 500 damage. This also means he must take 2,000 reflected damage, and his HP is only 2,000. Noticing his hesitation, Dan Fong charges forward, gripping his sword tightly. He throws the 4 swords at him, reminding Hanji that hesitation is giving his opponent a chance to kill him. Hanji steps back while blocking the attacks, knowing that if this continues, he won't have a chance to win. He needs to find a way to break the 4 sword souls. Suddenly, he remembers the items collected from IO1's group. Among them was an undead suit, an item that helps you not die if you suffer fatal damage, recovering 10% of your HP, and it has a 25-hour cooldown. With no other choice, he quickly equips it. Now he can only rely on the life-saving effect of this undead suit. After equipping it, without wasting a second, he charges forward, using the lightning chain skill. Dan Fong wonders if Hanji wants to die or something, since he'll be killed by the sword soul before he even attacks due to his current HP. He raises his sword, arrogantly proclaiming that it's all over, but what he doesn't know is that Hanji has activated the undead suit's skill, Undead Guardian, which helps him not die if he has suffered fatal damage. Thus, his sword takes multiple hits, breaking piece by piece and increasing his power. Hanji destroys the swords. Confused, Dan Fong tries to understand what just happened, but in the chaos, he is stabbed by Hanji's poisoned dagger. Finally, Hanji defeats Dan Fong and successfully advances to the next round. Hanji reaches out his hand to help Dan Fong up, praising him and admitting he's very strong, and that if it weren't for his gear, he would have lost from the start. Then he suggests joining his guild, pointing out that there's a very difficult hidden dungeon north of the city, and if they work together, they'll overcome it easily. Dan Fong praises him in return and says he'll consider joining the guild when the time comes. The announcer congratulates everyone for passing the first round of the trial and asks them to watch the next opponent through the World Channel. The next round is about to start. Immediately, a familiar cloaked figure steps onto the stage. It's none other than Yoon Haru, and the person facing her is Gu Chi. The crowd comments not to underestimate her, since in the previous round, she defeated her opponent effortlessly. Gu Chi warns her not to show mercy, since there's no room for sympathy in this arena. On the other hand, Yoon Haru assures him she'll give it her all. Outside the battle arena, everyone gathers and calls their teammates to hurry up, since the battle between the strongest mages has already started. Hearing this, Hanji thinks that recruiting the strongest mage would be great for him and his guild. Before going to train, Dan Fong tells him to contact him in the guild chat if he needs anything. Actually, Dan Fong is a training maniac, and even though he's already officially joined his guild, he quickly left a message hoping to hear news that Hanji wins the championship. Otherwise, he would feel embarrassed to have been defeated by him. Hanji laughs, pressuring him before the fight as expected of his teammate. Out of curiosity, he decides to take a look at the strongest famous mage, because everyone is so eager to see this fight. Just as he approaches the arena, his eyes widen, in shock upon recognizing Yoon Haru and the boy from the previous duel, Gu Chi. Yoon Haru's eyes are determined on her opponent, gripping her staff, her body surrounded by an aura of flames. Suddenly, she unleashes an ice storm howl with her ice whirlwind skill, covering the entire stage. Gu Chi praises her for having a moon staff and says he will soon make the staff his while he stands a bit frozen by the ice. Ignoring his arrogant comment, Yoon Haru spins her staff, creating a magic circle with rays of light. Roja challenges her opponent to survive this first, then hits him with the combined effect of Meteor. This skill summons multiple meteors. Each meteor deals 500 points of flame damage to enemies. The number of meteors increases with skill level. The summoned meteors fall on Gucci, and the crowd's cheers for the girl can be heard. That's why Hanji observes that Yunharu is in the lead but has a bad feeling. Just then, Gucci smiles and instantly counterattacks Yunharu's attack, causing a fierce explosion. After the dust clears, both players are no longer on stage. Hanji's thoughts wander. It's okay, Yunharu. Where are you? What is this skill Gucci is using right now? She reappears in the arena. Gucci holds his staff and mocks her for facing him, saying she would have reached the final if her opponent had been someone else. The crowd criticizes Gucci for hitting her so hard and taking her weapon. Hanji calmly steps onto the arena and helps her. Instead of worrying about her injuries, she apologizes for not protecting the item he gave her. Hanji assures her not to worry, to rest, since he will reach the final, defeat the opponent, and return her staff. Time passes, and very soon, Hanji and Chigu defeat their opponents and successfully level up. After all these rounds, the two finalists are the mage Chigu and the only beast tamer in this tournament, Hanji. One will hit, the other will fail. Who will be victorious? The whole crowd is eager to see the fight, knowing well that both players are strong enough at this point. Hanji and Chigu face each other. Hanji looks at him coldly, making Chigu assume he wants to kill him. Then Hanji confesses he hates people who take things from others. Without replying, Chigu strikes the ground with his staff, breaking it, and laughs maniacally. However, Chigu challenges him to get it himself. Suddenly, everything around them darkens. People wonder what happened as they disappear again, doing the same trick as before. The crowd is irritated because they want to know what's happening now. Hanji understands that's why Yunharu disappeared. Chigu creates another dimension. It's a skill called Infinite Void that creates an empty space where the creator gets a 30% damage boost, while enemies deal 30% less damage for 5 minutes. Chigu arrogantly claims no one can beat him in this space. Dying here will use up the resurrection chance, and they will respawn in the same area. He gives Hanji the option to surrender quietly, but without replying, Hanji charges straight at Gucci to attack with his dagger, but he dodges quickly. This guy barely gives him a chance to get close. Also, there's no way to copy his talent. Not even the undead summoners are helpful. Gucci uses the staff to shoot shadow arrows that damage Hanji, who loses 700 HP. Hanji groans in pain. This is frustrating. Even the most basic spell can reduce 1 to 3 of his HP. If this continues, he won't survive many more attacks and will die. But what if he can revive in this space? Thinking this, he smiles and stabs himself, receiving fatal damage. The system declares him dead, but it also detects a resurrection opportunity and begins to bring him back to life. Resurrection mechanisms in special areas work differently in duels. Players can revive on the spot without having to go to a resurrection fountain. Hanji finally wakes up. The ring on his finger glows, and a flock of crows is summoned. Chigu's eyes widen in disbelief, accusing him of playing dirty. Meanwhile, Hanji states he will never forgive him. Even if he loses a resurrection chance, Hanji attacks with the crows, something Gucci utterly despises. Then he launches another attack, and Gucci realizes it enough to scare him. Hanji is now faster. Unlike before, Hanji follows up with a double chain lightning attack, dealing 800 damage to Gucci. Afraid, Gucci mutters to himself that he can't afford to lose and counterattacks, but Hanji proves to be much stronger. The fight continues, and with all his strength, Hanji responds with insane power. Finally defeating Gucci and winning the duel competition, the spectators can't believe how fast it ended. But they agree that Gucci's defeat was well deserved after all. He stole the staff from the girl first. The host raises Hanji's hand in victory and announces him as the winner. Then he takes out the prize of the champion, which when opened can provide a random piece of historic rank equipment level 35. Hanji thinks to himself that a level 20 Venom Fang dagger no longer fits him, but a high-level weapon would be a great addition. He opens the chest and receives a sword of ice and fire. Hanji is excited about his new gear, relieved that his resurrection chance was not wasted and proud to be a champion. However, he is soon warned not to squander his new power. Shortly after, he is surrounded by others, begging him to add them as friends. Hanji then returns the staff to Yoon Haru as promised and asks her about the time she mentioned wanting to find her older brother. He adds her to the guild, and his head spins as he receives an avalanche of requests to join the guild. Poor Hanji is then chased by so many people asking to join the guild. The initial guild size limit is only 10 members, and with each level gained the limit increases by 5. Hanji can't let random people join, especially since they lack a healer. However, with him, Danfod and Yoon Haru could clear the Dragon Crown tomb. Suddenly, a man appears before them and Hanji becomes defensive, but Yoon Haru recognises him as Qinglong and wonders why he's here and where her brother is. Qinglong explains he saw him at the city gate, so he followed him. Her brother had gone out on something important, but told Qinglong to protect Yoon Haru before leaving. Hanji, clearly puzzled, asks Yoon Haru if she knows him, and Yoon Haru confirms Qinglong is her older brother's companion. As the tension eases, Hanji politely invites Qinglong to join them in the dungeon of the Dragon Crown, and he accepts the offer and joins them. Meanwhile, at the entrance to the Dragon Crown tomb, Danfod and Yoon Haru are already waiting as they prepare to enter the dungeon. Some people are spying on them and decide to inform their boss to come. Upon entering the dungeon, Yoon Haru is impressed by the statues, admiring their realistic touch. She approaches one of the statues to look closer, feeling something is off about it. It is then that the statue's eyes glow red and it comes to life. Hanji realizes the seriousness of the situation and warns everyone to be careful because the statues are the monsters of the Dragon Crown tomb. Then he turns to Danfod and instructs him to tank the damage while they attack from behind. Leading his teammates to stay together, the monsters start approaching and attacking, but Danfod is confident those pathetic monsters are nothing to him. He draws his sword and launches an attack against the monster. Danfod's eyes show fury as he brings the monster to its last moments. Everyone continues fighting the monsters. Suddenly, a Blood Knight appears, a level 35 Dragon Knight riding a horse with a red sword in his fist. He gains speed and charges at them to attack at just the right moment. Danfod notices and uses his sword shield to defend against the knight. Then he summons the sword formation, a knight profession skill that deals 3,000 physical damage to the enemies and defeats them as if they had no power against him. But before the knight is defeated, he shouts the phrase, "Wake up, Lord Segura." Meanwhile, at the Tower of Eternity, a man watches Hanji with interest. He sees someone familiar from his shadow, but thinks his eyes must be mistaken, since that person is no longer around. He is drawn to a memory, a man being thrown off a cliff into blazing fire. Now, to toy with them even more, he decides to increase the difficulty for the time being. The greedy Dragon Crown, Saul, absorbs the power of the dead subordinates and upgrades the Dragon Crown to rank 2. Knowing what this means, Hanji concludes that the monster egg left by the final boss will be rare. The rank 2 dragon attacks of the crown cause its HP to drop as fast as lightning, and if this keeps up, everyone will be beyond salvation. So Hanji guides everyone to spread out, run far away and avoid the Dragon Crown's attack. After that, he begs Danfong to use his sword shield. However, the dragon's damage is too strong. Danfong realizes that his sword soul can only block this attack, but it can't block the dragon's next breath. Still, Hanji assures that he will handle the rest. When the dragon's breath ends, Hanji urges his comrades to attack the Dragon Crown's weak spot. His eyes light up. Then Qinglong uses his level 4 sleep arrow, which causes 4 seconds of stun, and fires the shot, hitting the dragon precisely. As soon as Qinglong hits Hanji, yells for everyone to attack the dragon with him, because hitting the Dragon Crown's weak spot can put it into a temporary weakened state. In that state, damage taken is increased by 100%. Following Hanji's lead, everyone quickly starts attacking it together. The girl uses her Ice Windstorm skill to freeze the dragon, and the protagonist delivers the final blow, defeating the monster and successfully taking down the greedy dragon as Hanji expected. The dragon dropped lunar loot, making their eyes shine with excitement. The protagonist only wants the egg, telling them they can keep the rest of the loot while Hanji tries to collect the egg. Some people burst into Mora flames and attack him, but Qinglong intervenes and takes the damage instead. Hanji is stunned that Qinglong took the hit for him. When asked why, Qinglong says he's just returning the favour for having saved Yunharu before. However, he explains that he has a resurrection chance, so he'll be waiting for them in the city. Anyway, he makes sure that if Yunharu gets hurt, he won't let them go easily. Meanwhile, Hanji shouts, wondering why they would stab him in the back. Then Lucien steps forward and smiles, reminding Hanji that he warned him one day he'd make him pay double. And that day has come. Seeing Lucien and his group, Hanji is stunned, but at the same time tells his friends it's a personal grudge and that they should leave it to him. He cuts his palm and lets his blood drip onto the dragon egg, realizing it's dragon-blooded, the rare beast race in the apocalyptic world. He uses his blood to make a contract with the dragon beast, and the egg hatches with a huge explosion from which an adorable dragon emerges. Dan Fong stands there, wondering if the magical beasts tamed by beast tamers are really that harmless and innocent looking. Hanji mocks and laughs, thinking he can blindly defeat him effortlessly. The dragon certainly looks harmless, but when the dragon gets enraged, Lucien's taunts are thrown right back at him. The moment the dragon unleashes its fiery breath, everyone is stunned, not expecting such a massive attack. The intensity of these flames is so extreme that people caught in the fire melt away until their last moments. Their leader realizes the best option is to save himself and flee. After the leader escapes, the small dragon approaches Hanji and perches on his shoulder. As Hanji and the group begin to leave, Yunharu asks who they were, and Hanji explains that by their appearance, they must be people from the other race's camp, but he still doesn't know why they followed him there. Yunharu remains puzzled. Because of that strange symbol and its meaning, Hanji's expression darkens, as if he wants to explain something, but he can't. Later, they return to the village. Qinglong is excited to see the small dragon, but seeing its fiery temper, he knows it's best not to play with it. The system alerts that, because a player in Zone 886 killed the greedy dragon Saul in the hidden dungeon, Saul's companion, the Golden Skeleton King, will descend upon Ope Town. Hanji realizes this is different from his past life and recalls that before, with just his power, he destroyed half of Ope Town and also killed 60% of its players. Hanji thinks that if only he could complete the mission to kill the Golden Skeleton King, then the new Apocalypse City would open, and he could find Muchen. Meanwhile, a servant presents 2 dragon eggs to his master, named Muchen, and reports that in Zone 886 they encountered a beast tamer, who killed the dragon's crown before them and even signed a contract with the Black Dragon. Hearing about Zone 886, Muchen immediately finds it interesting, as if he found what he was looking for, and tells his servants to leave. Then he opens a room, and we get a glimpse of a chamber filled with more dragon eggs. The world boss, the Death God, the Golden Skeleton King, descends to avenge Segura. The demonic creature claims to have been busy before, but has a plan to bury them all today. The demon also summons his little minions, who emit a strange neon energy. The people of Ope Town gather while some curse whoever brought him to the city, and others anxiously await the loot he will drop. The system indicates that the mission is to protect the entire city. The system generates a task to protect the town and prevent the invasion of the Golden Skeleton King. Players who land the finishing blow on the Golden Skeleton King in the top 3 contribution ranks will receive generous rewards just like before, in addition to the kill reward. Ranking will be based on damage. The higher the rank, the greater the chance of obtaining legendary rank gear, extremely rare. Hanji knows he needs to act first this time. Turning to his companions, he asks them not to panic, because the Golden Skeleton King moves very slowly. If they keep a distance of 100 meters or more and use ranged attacks, they won't get hurt, to lead the monster to its death. Hanji urges everyone to follow his instructions. He asks Dan Fong to approach the monster groups while the others follow Hanji and attack the boss. Meanwhile, the Golden Skeleton King unleashes skeleton soldiers on the town, and while everyone fights the skeletons, one of them is injured by a fierce skeleton attack. The whole group fights hard, unleashing attacks, but the skeletons are too powerful. Meanwhile, Yao heals the man, while the others keep fighting. As the situation outside the town becomes dangerous, Hanji tells everyone to retreat. The skeleton soldiers group up to attack, and Hanji tells Danfong to break their formation and not let them use their setup. Danfong charges into the formation with his swords and clears it using his sword storm skill. Meanwhile, someone tells a clan leader that if the fight continues, all the rewards will go to those people from the House of Gods. The greedy leader tells him to inform the other clan and guild leaders because they can't let others take the boss's reward. Hanji can't stand this demon killing people, so he's about to attack with all his spells. But before he can, the clan leader arrives from behind, clarifying that they are here for the rewards, since they won't let their guild godslayers take them all. Hearing such nonsense, Hanji can't believe what they're saying. Do they really think they can beat the boss on their own? Besides being useless, they're just a nuisance. So Hanji shows no interest in arguing with them. If they want the rewards, they have to earn them themselves, since the skeleton boss is right in front of them. Meanwhile, the Golden Skeleton King prepares to attack. The Golden Skeleton King unleashes a full attack, but to Hanji's surprise, it's Yu Yu, who thought she had already left, intervenes and blocks the blow with her light shield skill. She realised her team lacked healers, so she decided to help. Meanwhile, Qinglong warns Yunharu to be careful, but her left leg gets trapped, leaving her immobile, while the Golden Skeleton King prepares to strike again. Unexpectedly, someone intervenes and blocks the attack with his bare hands. He tells Yunharu to retreat and leave it to him. The Skeleton King boasts of his strength, but the man calmly draws his sword and challenges him to show how powerful the so-called Death God really is. The man attacks, but as expected, the Skeleton King barely feels the blow. Laughing at the attack, he mocks him. He says it was just a tickle. However, the man responds that he's just getting started and enters a rage state in that form. He sacrifices 1% of his HP every second, gaining a 10% increase in strength, making him even more dangerous. He charges forward with a furious slash that hits the Skeleton King hard, dealing 3,000 HP damage. Although the Skeleton King loses some health, it's not enough to stop him. Roaring with rage, he swears to make the man pay for daring to attack him and swings his massive weapon. The man, gripping his weapon tightly, jumps into the air to counterattack. Hanji realizes the man is using his own HP to power up, but with so little HP, one mistake could mean the end for him. The Skeleton King attacks the man with all his might, believing it will be enough to kill him. But to his surprise, the damage stops at just 1 HP. The man's immortal body talent activates, making him immune to all damage for 60 seconds. The attacks are nothing but tickles, and he can withstand many more weak blows like those. Enraged, the Skeleton King attacks again, but even a brutal cut doesn't hurt him. Hanji watches as the man takes every hit without a scratch, realizing how strong he is. With his HP decreasing, the Skeleton King pauses his attacks. Seeing this as his chance, the man counterattacks and delivers a final combined blow, completely defeating the Skeleton King. The Skeleton King drops the Ring of the Undead, a legendary level 40 item. The ring increases all attributes by 10 points, and its embedded skill Death Power increases the ring's attributes by 50% for each dead player. Hanji notices that the ring is evil equipment, and that if it falls into the hands of an evil player, it could cause serious problems. Hanji thanks the man for his help, but he reveals that he only did it for Yunharu. Suddenly, Yunharu runs to him and hugs him, calling him Big Brother. That's when Hanji realizes This is the big brother Yoonharu had been looking for. The man reassures her that everything is fine and hands her the Ring of the Undead. The system then announces that player 886 has stopped the Golden Skeleton King world boss invasion and that a new city has been opened. The big brother says goodbye to everyone, telling them they should claim their rewards because this place is now part of the past. Everyone collects their rewards. The Golden City Soul Armor, the Golden Belt, the Golden Bow, and the Golden Cloaks. Hanji receives the Golden Boots that grant a 5-point increase to all attributes and boost movement speed by 100% for 20 seconds with a 3-minute cooldown. It's a great gain for him, and with the new city opened for 20 seconds with a 3-minute cooldown, it's a huge advantage for him. And with the new city open, he's one step closer to finding Lu Shen. The group admires their new weapons as they arrive at the outskirts of Poseidon. Qinglong feels uneasy while Yoonharu finds the towering buildings intimidating. The village's demon tower rises before them, standing 100 floors tall. Only those who conquer the tower can enter John Tower. Hanji recalls his past life, where he survived the apocalypse for 8 years, but only reached floor 50. The rewards of John Tower must be amazing. Meanwhile, on the top floor of John Tower, a man silently watches Hanji and says the real game starts now. Hanji notices a group of hurried people arguing as they run because the village's demon tower is about to close in a few hours. Everyone is panicking about being late. Hanji steps in and explains to his friends that the demon tower only opens every 7 days. He suggests they take advantage of the chance and get some rewards from the lower floors before it closes, since they have no other missions right now. Everyone agrees, and Hanji casually puts his hand on Yoonharu's brother's shoulder, suggesting they explore the tower together. Of course, this is just an excuse to copy his god-ranked talent, Immortal Body. But the Demon Tower is a solo dungeon, so they decide to separate temporarily and meet up later. As usual, Dan Fong moves quickly, running without hesitation. Since it's a training area, the group enters the tower and starts clearing floors one by one. After passing the 5th floor, Hanji levels up to 40 and receives some rewards. At this pace, he thinks clearing a few more floors won't be too hard. Meanwhile, on the 7th floor, a voice from the darkness demands to know who dares to interrupt their mealtime. The voice belongs to San, a level 55 demon warrior and former Poseidon invasion boss. After the invasion failed, he was sealed inside the demon tower. Hanji realizes something's wrong. Sayun should be a floor 15 boss, but here he is on the 7th floor. He'll have to be careful. Sayun charges at Hanji, but when the black dragon attacks him with its fire breath, it doesn't cause damage. Hanji quickly realizes he can't win this fight. Sayun's attacks are much stronger than before. The tower is about to close in just 10 seconds, and with barely any HP left, Hanji knows he's in a tough spot. But he holds his ground, points his sword at San, and tells him to go ahead, provoking him. Saon runs in for a finishing blow, but just as he swings his weapon, the tower shuts down. Time's up, and Hanji is teleported out. Back outside, Hanji sighs, relieved realizing how fierce the monsters inside were. His lucky time was on his side, or he'd already be dead. Yoonharu notices her brother isn't with them, but both Qinglong and Hanji assure her he must have left somewhere. Hanji insists his brother is strong enough to take care of himself, though Yoonharu remains visibly tense. Then the system announces a new special mission, a guild war in Source City. All major guilds are invited to register, and the first guild battle will take place in Energy City. Yoonharu is curious about the teleportation device listed as a reward, and Hanji explains it's one of the best items in the game, although it's not very useful in combat if placed in the right spot. Someone could collect teleportation fees every day and make a fortune. Hanji realizes it could help him find Luchan faster, so he tells everyone to rest for now, because in 4 hours, they'll need to prepare for the guild war. Then he asks Qinglong and Yao if they want to join his guild, since he's short on members. Both agree. Meanwhile, on the 8th floor of the Demon Tower, Yoon Haru's brother is still trapped inside, even after the tower has closed. Realizing something must have gone wrong, he notices a figure standing in the shadows. He demands the figure to step forward, and a man with a weapon emerges lunging at him with a warning, "You shouldn't have come here." The man mutters that all intruders must die. The older brother asks the man if he is an NPC, a guardian, or a player. But the man replies that he is none of those, runs at him and tries to slit his throat while soaring through the air. But just as the older brother activates the immortality skill, the man suddenly stops upon recognizing the god-rank talent. The man offers him a choice, revealing he's not in a good mood today, so if the older brother promises to keep secret what happened today, he will spare him and in exchange reveal a secret about the apocalypse. He says it won't be long before the apocalypse occurs, a catastrophe no one will survive, unless, however, he doesn't finish the sentence, and tells the older brother that's all he can say, and he'll have to figure out the rest himself. Before leaving, the older brother asks how he can get out of this place, but the man tells him that 7 days later, the tower will open again, and then he can leave. Sweat runs down the older brother's face as he notices the man stopped when he saw the god-rank talent, so he wonders if the catastrophe is related to that god-rank talent. Now he worries whether the catastrophe really exists. Meanwhile, Hanji meets with his guild members and says, now that everyone has rested, it's time to head to the Fountain City and give it our all. Everyone is excited and eager to see what will happen next. The announcement says, players who die here won't lose their resurrection chance, won't drop equipment, and will only lose 20% of the crystals earned in Fountain City. The event lasts 4 hours, and guilds will be ranked based on crystals, with rankings updated from time to time. The crystals have fixed locations, but often appear where the boss guards them. Hanji gathers everyone to discuss their strategy. He tells his team they are outnumbered, so they need to find nearby areas so that when one place is attacked, nearby teammates can come to help. Hanji tells everyone to split up and head to their spots. Everyone is fiercely fighting different creatures. Hanji occupies a rank 3 water crystal mine. The system alerts about the guild ranking. First place is the guild, Scorned Heroes, with 20 people and 10 600 crystals. In second place is the House God Guild, with 5 people and a total of 3,000 crystals. Third is the Promise Gate Guild, with 10 people and 4 600 crystals. Hanji notices they also occupy a rank 3 water crystal mine, and to reach a higher rank, they need to occupy more mines. Meanwhile, Promise Gate's guild leader, Xiaoping, sees that Hanji's guild has only 5 people and that each mine has weak defense. They have many more members than Hanji, so he tells his team that if they attack all the mines at once, they can easily take them. Xiaoping tells his team to attack. They assault Hanji's mine and capture it. Xiaoping orders them to kill, while Hanji fights monsters on his side. He receives an alert that Yoon Haru is in danger, turns his back on the monster to save her, and the monster takes the chance to attack him from behind, but Si Ajay, the black dragon, protects him with his fire breath. Hanji puts on his golden boots and leaves to help Yoon Haru. The system notifies him that he has used the golden boots skill, Golden Speed, which increases his speed by 100% for 20 seconds, helping him get there faster. Xiaoping presses a sharp blade to Yoon Haru's neck, taunting that it's a shame such a pretty face is being wasted. Then he asks if she has any companions, because he doesn't see anyone coming to save her. Hearing a noise behind, he turns and sees Hanji approaching. Xiaoping immediately orders his team to capture him. While they attack him, Hanji throws himself between them, scattering them, and stands in front of Xiaoping, telling him he's a coward for attacking a single girl with his whole team. Xiaoping yells at Hanji, asking who he thinks he is, to teach him a lesson and dare to attack his people. Furious, he declares that Hanji must die for interfering. Xiaoping lunges at him, but Hanji moves at bullet speed with his sword, leaving him stunned, and tells him his fate is to die by his sword. Hanji defeats Xiaoping, and a notification appears saying he was killed by Hanji, who has gained 500 crystals. Hanji turns to Yoon Haru and asks if she's okay. She says yes, she arrived just in time. A little later, the guild leader of Scorned Heroes approaches them clapping and mocks that a hero has saved a beauty with a smile. Si-Tuan greets Yunharu and says he didn't expect to see her there again. Then he demands Hanji stay away from Yunharu, saying she belongs to him. Yunharu tells Hanji to ignore him and explains that Si-Tuan is a despicable scoundrel who has been harassing her in the real world. Hanji takes Yunharu's hand and starts to walk away with her, but Si-Tuan calls out to Hanji, challenging him to a duel. He offers a rank 3 crystal mine if he wins, but if he loses, he must give Hanji to him. Hanji rejects the offer, saying he's not interested in taking care of a real coward like him. Si-Tuan is offended by the rejection, saying how dare he reject me, then launches a sword attack at Hanji and Yunharu. Hanji steps in, protects Yunharu, and tells her to be careful, promising to get her out of there once he finishes with Si-Tuan. Hanji lunges toward Si-Tuan, who growls that none of them will leave here alive. At that moment, flying swords strike Hanji's weapon, causing it to fall. Realizing he has no time to defend himself, he sees Si-Tuan approaching quickly, and in seconds is pierced by his sword. While Si-Tuan says he possesses legendary rank talent, Yunharu screams Hanji's name, but suddenly a violet blue energy begins to emanate from him. Hanji reveals he has a divine rank skill on a city street. The battle between Hanji and Si-Tuan continues. Si-Tuan attacks with the bright blue energy of his sword, but Hanji stops the blade with his hand, preventing it from piercing his shoulder. Si-Tuan is stunned to see this, and Hanji challenges him, saying if his legendary talent is so strong, then try it again. The next second, Hanji easily pulls the sword from his shoulder and pushes it aside once again, leaving Si-Tuan in shock. Si-Tuan wonders how this is possible, thinking it must be an illusion. He shouts to the rest of his guild members, ordering them to come out and kill Hanji. Hanji asks Si-Tuan if this is what he calls a fair fight, when in fact he planned an ambush from the start. Si-Tuan yells at Hanji, declaring he must kill him today. His guild members rise into the air and surround Hanji, trying to capture him. Hanji realizes this actually works in his favor, since he was worried about not having enough crystals. He surrounds himself with his violet blue energy, blocking all their attacks. The Shu Yan members scream in panic, calling Hanji a monster, saying he used his body to block all their attacks like an endless black hole. Then suddenly, a huge black dragon with glowing red eyes appears behind Hanji. Hanji tells them that if they are done attacking him now, it's his turn. In the next moment, the dragon breathes fire on Si-Tuan. Si-Tuan yells at Hanji not to think he'll give up his crystals just because he was defeated. Hanji punches Si-Tuan, completely finishing him off. A notification appears, informing that Hanji has killed Si-Tuan and gained 100 crystals. Hanji smiles mockingly, saying he knew Si-Tuan wouldn't keep his promises. Yao appears and asks Yunharu what happened and if everyone is okay. Yunharu reassures her that everyone is fine and explains that a moment ago, the Promise Gate and Scorned Heroes guilds, Promise Gate and Disdain Heroes, attacked them, but all were defeated by Hanji. After a while, they check the guild rankings. Hanji informs everyone that only half an hour remains, and that if they want to surpass the Disdain Heroes guild, the only way is to use ranged attacks and snatch all the points from that guild. They realise they will need an expert to achieve this. Yunharu steps forward and asks Qinglong to try since he is a professional archer. Qinglong apologises, saying he doesn't think he can do it. He remembers losing many times in the archery championship finals, failing miserably despite giving his all. He recalls how people called him useless trash and mentally weak. Deep down, Qinglong admits that maybe he really isn't fit to shoot arrows. Hanji puts his hand on Qinglong's shoulder and tells him he's the best archer he has ever seen and that he has the best aim. Hanji reminds him how he saved everyone in the Dragon Crown tomb, and even in that situation, he was able to shoot precisely at the Dragon Crown's eyes. Compared to that, this will be a piece of cake for him. Qinglong agrees, saying he will do his best. Everyone cheers as Qinglong climbs onto the roof, aiming at Si Tuan and his members. He positions himself and shoots an arrow at Si Tuan. Si Tuan is with his team, boasting that he wanted to show off in front of Yoon Haru, but he didn't expect a brat to steal the spotlight. One of his teammates calms him down, saying that once they secure first place, Yoon Haru will know who the strongest is. Another member chimes in, agreeing that the competition is almost over, and their opponents won't be able to catch up in the number of crystals. Suddenly, an arrow shot by Qinglong pierces Si Tuan's shoulder, making him groan in pain. Enraged Si Tuan demands to know who shot him, his eyes widening when he sees Qinglong. Qinglong smiles determinedly, promising to finish them off in one blow. Qinglong jumps off the building and everyone charges toward the Disdain Heroes Guild. The system updates showing the number of people and crystals. Hanji effortlessly defeats a guild member with a single sword strike, gaining 200 crystals. Meanwhile, Qinglong climbs onto another roof, lining up his next shot. The countdown for the guild war begins with 50 seconds left. 35 seconds later, Qinglong releases his arrow, and with only 12 seconds remaining, a rain of arrows begins. It falls on a group near a cluster of crystals, wiping them out. Finally, time runs out, and a voice from the aircraft announces that everyone must congratulate the House God Guild for becoming the champion of Source City. The system updates again, showing the final count of people and crystals. Hanji congratulates Qinglong, calling him incredible, confirming he always knew Qinglong was the strongest archer. The other members echo their praise. Meanwhile, members of the Disdain Heroes Guild ask Si Tuan why they don't go after the House God Guild. Si Tuan shouts at them, saying he's already lost enough dignity in front of Yoon Haru. At that moment, a large box falls from the sky onto the House God Guild. The host announces it's the champion's reward they earned in the Source City Guild War and tells them to check it out. Opening the box, they find a variety of useful devices. Hanji takes a teleportation device, thinking it will make travelling much easier and more convenient. Si Tuan approaches Hanji and warns him to be careful during the alien race event. He warns that the God Guilds have already set their sights on him, and that his life won't be easy. With that, Si Tuan turns and leaves. Curious, Yoon Haru asks Hanji what Si Tuan meant by the alien race and the God Guilds. Hanji admits he's not sure, but thinks it might be related to the hooded black figures who appeared in the Dragon Crown tomb. As night falls, Angie walks down a carved passage, black-cloaked figures who appeared at the Dragon's Crown tomb. As night falls, Angie walks down a passage carved for her guild members. Unaware, she is being watched by a purple-haired girl hiding behind a wall. As she walks, the purple-haired girl deliberately bumps into Yoon Haru, rudely apologises, and tells her to move aside. In the process, she steals a ring from Yoon Haru's inventory using her assassin profession skill that allows her to steal items. Qinglong yells at the purple-haired girl to watch where she's going since she bumped into Yoon Haru. Yoon Haru looks at her suspiciously and realises her ring is gone. She tells Hanji there's a thief, as the ring her brother gave her has disappeared. The purple-haired girl immediately starts running, and Hanji orders Qinglong to chase her. However, the girl climbs onto a nearby rooftop, smiles and disappears. Qinglong approaches Hanji, asking if she caught the thief. Hanji replies no, since she used a teleporter to escape to Moonlight City. Qinglong asks about that city, wondering if it belongs to another race. Hanji confirms it, and adds that the god Si Tuan mentioned might be related to the alien race, and they need to investigate Moonlight City. Hanji also recalls that to improve the dragon race's talent, prestige from the 3 camps is needed, and only 9 people can use the alien race's prestige. He realises they could also discover more about Lu Chen in the new city. Hanji addresses Qinglong and Yoon Haru, telling them to stay with the others in case Yoon Haru's brother shows up and they can't find them. Yoon Haru agrees, asking him to be careful, and Qinglong assures Hanji that he will protect Yoon Haru. Hanji adjusts the teleportation device, setting it up so he can return anytime if something goes wrong. He enters the device and orders the operator to teleport him to the Moonlight City of the alien race. The uniformed man nods in agreement. In Moonlight City, Hanji receives a notification that he has been teleported there, but at a cost of 100 gold coins. He murmurs internally that the teleportation fee is too high, and so 100 coins are gone. While walking through the city, he suddenly hears someone shouting for help. He wonders who could be screaming at this hour, but quickly realizes that Moonlight City is not exactly a safe place. Following the sound, he sees 3 men harassing a girl who is sitting on the ground, leaning against a wall, looking helpless. The girl begs them to leave her alone, but they laugh mockingly and tell her to keep running if she's so good at it. One of the men raises his sword to attack her, but Hanji jumps forward and stands between the girl and the men. The man growls at Hanji, asking who he is and if he knows the consequences of provoking him. Without hesitation, Hanji strikes him with his sword, replying that he does and that they shouldn't harass a helpless girl. The blow makes the man stagger. He quickly orders the other 2 to flee, admitting Hanji is stronger than them. As the men run away, Hanji turns around, looks at the girl, and asks why they were chasing her. The girl nervously admits that she only stole a boss's death from them, and since then they have been chasing her. Hanji asks who they are and why they are so arrogant. The girl answers that they are from the Gods Guild and that everyone in Moonlight City fears them. Hanji understands those men are from the Gods Guild and their outfits resemble those worn by the mysterious figures he saw in the Dragon Crown's tomb. After that exchange, Hanji decides to leave, telling the girl she should get home quickly, since it's dangerous for someone like her to be out so late. But the girl stops him, asking him not to go. Hanji turns and asks why she's following him. The girl hesitantly admits she's afraid those men will come back for her. Hanji, with a small gesture, tells her to follow him. She agrees, promising she won't be a burden since she knows the city well and can help him if he needs it. Angela takes him to a hotel and rents 2 rooms. He accompanies her to her room and then goes to his, where he finally lies down to rest after a long day. That night, while he sleeps deeply, the little girl enters his room holding a knife. She walks toward him, thinking this is her chance to earn 10,000 gold coins. She tries to stab Hanji, but he effortlessly dodges the knife, still half asleep. The girl mocks herself, wondering how he will dodge the next strike. But Hanji suddenly wakes up and slaps her face, confusing her with Lu Chen and accusing her of betrayal. The girl hurts herself, holding her face, and Hanji quickly realizes she is not Moon, but the girl he brought with him earlier. Confused, he asks why she is in his room. She replies innocently, saying she had a nightmare about the men chasing her and was scared. Hanji sighs, pulls her to his side, and assures her not to worry that he will keep watch while she rests. As the girl lies down, Hanji watches her closely, realizing she might be trying to gradually earn his trust. The next morning, Hanji and the girl stand in front of the Moonlight Church in the city. Hanji asks if she's sure the members of the Gods Guild are inside. The girl confirms, explaining she secretly followed them, but lost sight of them after they entered the church. Just then, Moon appears behind them, looking at the girl with interest. Thinking she is attractive, he reaches out to grab her arm, but Hanji turns around, grabs Moon's wrist, and recognizes him. Moon, surprised, yells at Hanji, asking who he is and how he knows his name. Hanji, closing his eyes to focus, pulls a lunch from his bag and throws it at Moon's face, coldly replying that he's not worthy of knowing his name. Moon falls to the ground, crushing one of the tents. The citizens of Moonlight City watch in amazement. One comments that Moon, who always hits others, never thought this time he would be the one getting hit. Another says it's karma and that things are getting interesting. Moon grits his teeth and asks Hanji who he is and if he wants to die. The girl intervenes, telling Hanji that Moon is one of the area's leaders and warns him not to provoke him. Hanji responds that Moon is exactly who he wants to defeat. He stares at him, thinking he expected someone like him. Someone who betrayed him in the past and now harasses others to be the one facing him. The system announces that player Moon has activated stealth mode. Moon steps forward, weapon in hand, declaring he will kill Hanji for invading his territory. Hanji realizes it's the assassin's stealth skill, which completely erases presence and allows attacks from the shadows. Although he can't see him, he senses Moon's approach, but the assassin lands a blow, cutting his face. Painful memories flood Hanji's mind as he recognizes the technique. It's the same attack Moon used to ambush him last time. When Moon jumps to attack again, Hanji blocks the attack with his sword, determined not to let history repeat itself. Moon is stunned, wondering how Hanji can predict his moves if he can't even see him. Hanji answers the question no, saying he will never forget Moon's moves no matter what, then kicks him to the ground. Hanji taunts him, asking if he really thought he could kill him, and says now they'll see who truly has the skill. Moon grits his teeth, demands to know who Hanji is, and curses his bad luck for running into such a skilled opponent. Hanji raises his sword to attack, but suddenly a black figure emerges from the ground and takes Moon away. In an instant, Hanji realizes it's the same group of black-hooded figures that tried to rescue Moon. He yells at them to stop, but they vanish with him. Then Hanji and the girl arrive where the black figure disappeared with Moon. The girl tells him this is the place she was looking for, the Moonlight Church, headquarters of the Gods Guild, and warns him it's dangerous inside and that maybe they were lured here on purpose. She asks if he's sure he wants to enter, and he confirms. Saying he has his reasons, she warns that entering without a plan will attract the guild's attention. Then she shows 2 hallucination pills in her hand. Hanji, surprised, asks why she carries them, and she whispers that every solo player should have some. It's a necessity. Then she says their target is approaching. Hanji uses the hallucination pills to knock out some soldiers with a single touch, ordering them to sleep. Then he and the girl dress in uniforms and approach the church entrance. Meanwhile, in a secret chamber inside the church, Moon wakes coughing disoriented and asks where he is. A blonde man smirks mockingly and asks if he's frustrated at being defeated by a stranger. Moon screams, demanding to know who he is and why they brought him there, and the man coldly replies that a hostage has no right to ask questions, that his only option is to stay still or he'll die. Unaware, Angie and the girl disguised arrive at the church door and tell the soldiers they're here for the shift change. One agrees, saying he's ready to sleep, and the other warns them not to fall asleep on the job. But when they enter, one soldier turns and grabs Hanji, saying it's not time for the change yet. Without hesitation, the girl steps forward and knocks them out, waving her hand and releasing more pills. Once inside, she tells Hanji the person he's looking for is there. He takes off his mask, but she surprises him by taking off her uniform and saying her mission is over. Hanji looks at her, confused, and she slams the door shut, leaving him trapped outside. A soldier hands him a package as a reward. She takes it and mentally talks to Hanji, telling him that she forgot to mention that betrayal is common in Moonlight City. Trapped inside, Hanji realizes that the girl was sent by the Gods Guild, as he suspected, and decides to find out why they lured him there. He throws his helmet to the ground and follows the hallway where he notices pink flames on the walls and a group of people sitting. One of them, a huge guy, declares that he can easily take care of Hanji and that it was a waste of time for the boss to call them all. Another, with bright green eyes, yells at him that if the boss did it, he must have his reasons. That if he thinks he can, then he should prove it. The giant smiles and accepts the challenge, saying he'll show them how he'll crush Hanji. He stomps hard, grabs his weapon, and throws it shouting to catch his axe. As the weapon comes closer, Hanji stretches out his palm and casts his spell, summoning 100 crows, causing a flock of crows to appear in the sky, realizing the number will double. Moments later, a loud crash is heard. The huge guy picks up his weapon again and jumps toward Hanji, mocking that a silly crow trick won't defeat him. He swings his axe at Hanji, but Hanji calmly draws his sword, strikes it against the ground, and creates an ice wall in front of him. The big guy, surprised, curses and slips on the floor. His head spins, and Hanji mocks him, saying, "Big guys are bad at keeping balance." The man with bright green eyes turns to a long-haired guy and says their boss was right. They'll have to intervene. The long-haired one replies that he really doesn't know what Hanji is trying to prove. Without warning, the long-haired guy lunges at Hanji, wrapping him with a bandage around his body. Hanji, caught by surprise and not expecting the attack, suddenly finds himself trapped while a spiked bone barrier rises, closing in on him. Panic takes hold of him as he realizes he can't move. He's about to crash into it when he realizes he's going to die. Then he immediately calls out the name of his black dragon. Suddenly, a green energy begins to surround the area and Blackie emerges from it. The long-haired guy is surprised, wondering how a normal beast tamer can have a grade 1 dragon so powerful. Blackie starts spreading bright flames everywhere with a roar, and the long-haired guy realizes they underestimated Hanji. Blackie breaks free from the bandage and strikes the long-haired guy with his sword, throwing him to the ground, boasting that they didn't underestimate him. He's just too strong. Hanji strokes Blackie's head, saying he hadn't seen him in a while, but that he managed to reach grade 1. The long-haired guy asks the giant what he should do because their information didn't mention Hanji having a grade 1 emperor dragon. The giant replies they have no choice but to take the risk. Then the giant runs toward Hanji and Blackie, with his people wielding a weapon in hand and shouting that Hanji must die. Hanji brandishes his magic sword, creating flame energy around him, and launches an attack, demanding they kneel before him, while Hanji and Blackie attack them with fire. Everyone falls to the ground and collapses onto the icy floor. One guy approaches the giant, calls him by name, and tells him it's enough, ordering him to withdraw. Yuan argues, saying he just needs a little more time, but the boss interrupts him mid-sentence and shoots him a deadly look, saying he ordered him to retreat and that he will be the one to die if he keeps fighting. Everyone stands up, and the giant one tells Hanji that his battle is not over yet, and that next time the true winner will be decided. Hanji replies that if they're not afraid to die, he'll gladly play again next time. The boss approaches Hanji, saying they finally meet. He asks if it's not his first time in the apocalypse. Hanji wonders who he is and how he knows about him. Hanji tells the boss that he has no idea what he's talking about. The boss tells Hanji he doesn't need to pretend with him, that he's known since Hanji entered the Hidden Dragon's crown tomb to take the magical beast egg. Hanji says he doesn't want to waste words with him and demands to know where Moon is insisting they bring him. The boss asks why the rush and informs him that he brought him because he wants to work with him, and if Hanji agrees, only they will discover the secret of regression. He offers him the best gear and unlimited wealth in the apocalypse. Then he threatens him, summoning his huge and terrifying monsters behind him, saying if he refuses, he won't leave alive. Hanji rejects the offer, thinking that the promise of gear and riches comes from oppressing the poor. When Hanji refuses, the boss's two monsters charge at him with a roar. Hanji realizes he just used immortality and is now on cooldown. Still not knowing his full strength, he attacks hastily, but the situation isn't in his favor. He grabs the teleportation device in his hand, grateful to have been lucky enough to set the coordinates to Dawn City. Hanji teleports and disappears, dissolving into pixels. The boss sighs, thinking he'll let him go this time, but next time he won't be so lucky. He turns around and looks down where Moon is sitting on the ground. The boss tells Lu Shen that Hanji must want to take his life because there's surely bad blood between them. Then the boss turns again and asks Moon if he really thinks Hanji will let him go. Moon screams in panic, saying Hanji is going to kill him. The boss kneels in front of Moon and tells him he just has to kill Hanji before Hanji kills him. Then he stands up, looking down at him, and reassures him, telling him not to worry, that he will help him kill Hanji. The boss thinks everyone must obey him in the apocalypse, but since Hanji rejected him, death is the only thing waiting for him. Hanji teleports to another location. With a racing mind, having barely escaped the dragon's breath. If he had waited 1 second longer, he would have been consumed by the flames. The boss's Grade 2 Emperor Dragons seem to be a real problem, and Gino can't help but wonder who this boss is and how he knows he's a regressor. He starts to suspect the boss might be like him. Just then, the system fairy appears, telling Hanji that his fatigue has reached its limit and he must rest at a nearby resting point. Hanji realizes he's exhausted after his journey to Moonlight City. He needs to rest at the inn, or Yunharu will worry if he doesn't return soon. Upon entering the inn, the receptionist informs him that he chose the express recovery service, which costs 20 gold coins. Hanji hears some people talking about him. One person is surprised that he's spending money to recover his fatigue bar. Another comments that they're sitting there, recovering slowly, and someone else says that with 20 gold coins, you can buy a whole set of gear. Hanji checks his balance and sees he still has 30,000 gold coins left, so he decides he'll need to upgrade his gear soon. Meanwhile, Yunharu is sitting next to Yao, wondering where Hanji is. Yao, with a worried expression, comments that their leader might be in danger. Suddenly, Hanji appears behind them and reassures them that he's fine, thanks to his skills, and still has energy, after facing an entire guild alone. Yunharu and Yao sigh in relief, seeing him. Hanji awkwardly smiles at Yunharu, telling her he still hasn't found information about the death ring, but he's determined to recover it. Yunharu returns the smile, saying it's okay, he only lost it because he wasn't alert, and she's just happy he came back safely. Yao asks Hanji if he's seen Qinglong. Hanji answers that he asked Qinglong to gather information since the purple-haired thief came to Dawn City and blindly left some trace. Just then, Qinglong approaches them. Hanji greets him and asks if he found anything. Qinglong replies that he has important information. The ring stolen from Yunharu will be auctioned tonight. Hanji immediately recalls the faces of Lu Chen, the boss, and the girl. If the ring is going to be auctioned, it means the thief will be there too. Hanji thinks it could also be a good chance to get high-level gear since the upcoming challenges won't be easy. They all agree to go to the auction. At the event location, the host announces that the monthly auction is about to start, showing rare pets, high-quality equipment, and valuable tools. Yunharu turns toward Hanji, asks if he's not going to join them. Hanji tells them to go ahead without him, that he has a matter to attend to, and steps aside thinking about a hidden menu from a shop he remembers from his past life. They sell large items, but are not very well known. Hanji finds the shop, and the shopkeeper asks what he's looking for. Hanji considers the situation facing a ring thief isn't very difficult, but there are many eyes in the auction house, and if he makes a flashy move, it could attract unwanted attention. He decides to prepare some items in advance. He asks the shopkeeper for some pancakes and fruit, paying full price. The shopkeeper grants him access to the hidden menu and asks what he wants to buy now. The system congratulates Hanji for unlocking the hidden menu, showing he has 1,000 gold coins. He picks up a green potion. Hanji recalls that only 0.5% of Apocalypse players unlocked that hidden menu, and that although these potions are expensive, they are much more powerful than the normal ones. Hanji decides to buy them all. The seller praises his choice, saying he's the first customer to discover that special stock. Hanji checks his inventory and feels a little remorse, having just spent 4,000 gold coins in an instant. Still, he hopes this mission will succeed this time. Hanji enters the auction house and wonders why it's so quiet, questioning if he's in the wrong place. The host announces the starting bid for a sheepskin scroll is 100 gold coins and asks if anyone wants to buy it. The crowd groans impatiently, expecting something valuable. Hanji approaches Yunharu and asks if the death ring is already being auctioned. Yunharu says not yet, since right now they are auctioning the sheepskin scroll of unknown origin. The host looks visibly disappointed. He announces that since no one wants it, he will withdraw it. Hanji remembers that the sheepskin scroll contains a hidden mission of the dragon race. In his past life, great clans and guilds went crazy trying to get it. He raises his hand and offers 100 gold coins. The crowd laughs at him, calling him a clueless rich guy for spending so much on something they consider useless. Someone comments that even if it were free, they wouldn't take it. The host hands the scroll to Hanji. He knows that for others, that scroll is no different than toilet paper. But for Dragon faction players like him, it's a treasure. Once he completes the hidden mission, he will get exclusive dragon gear, and everyone will envy him. The host announces the next item is the Death Ring, a legendary grade item with a starting bid of 10,000 gold coins. The crowd murmurs excitedly, wondering who brought such an expensive item. Yun Haru whispers to Hanji and points at a suspicious man with fangs, saying he looks very shady. Hanji agrees, noting that with that look, the man must be from Frostpeak City, the main city of the Beast faction. He wonders what a Beast faction member is doing in the human main city, and on top of that, with Si Tuan. Yun Haru praises Hanji, saying he knows everything. Hanji laughs and runs his hand through his hair, saying he just researched the Beast faction when he chose his own faction. The man with fangs stands up, attracting everyone's attention, and announces he's going to keep the Death Ring. He warns no one to bother pushing because he will double any offer. Some people in the crowd wonder what's so special about the ring, while others realise they have no chance against such a rich guy. A man steps forward, calling the Fang guy a despicable member of the Beast faction, and demanding to know what right he has to cause trouble in the human faction's main city. The Fang guy immediately hits him, asking if he now feels qualified. Another man suggests the first one back off quickly, since the Fang guy isn't someone they can mess with. At that moment, Hanji places his hand on the man's shoulder, stares down the Fang guy, and declares that as long as he's there, the Fang guy won't forget to stay away from that ring. The Fang guy is the young master Susi Tuan. He tells Chue that Hanji is the one he mentioned before and that he has divine talent. He glares at Hanji full of rage, declaring that since he dared to provoke the blood sect of Frostpeak City, the only thing waiting for him is death, regardless of his divine talent. Hanji whispers to Qinglong and Danfeng, asking them to create a distraction, to buy time and cause chaos. Qinglong and Danfeng agree without hesitation, saying they are experts at causing trouble. Both approach the crowd, and Danfeng shouts, asking if this territory isn't human and why they are letting the beast race, do whatever they want here. Qinglong adds, supporting Danfeng, that if word gets around, everyone would be too embarrassed to show their faces in Dawn City. The crowd starts to get restless, murmuring that if they don't act, they'll be the ones getting beaten. They challenge the beast race to a fight. Chimbon watches the beast race members wearing fur coats and comments that they have been bothering him from the start. Then he asks if they aren't worried about getting rashes wearing fur coats in this heat. Danfeng shouts from behind that there's no point reasoning with people like them, they should just attack. A full battle breaks out, with everyone fighting like it's the end of the world. A beast race man grabs Qinglong and shouts that after so many years in this business, it's the first time he's seen someone looking for death. Hanji takes his advanced invisibility potion, opens the cap and drinks it. He instantly becomes invisible and undetectable for 3 minutes. Then he uses an advanced fog potion that creates a dense fog at a target location that can't be cleared for 3 minutes. While the battle continues, Hanji takes an advanced combustion potion and throws it at the beast race members. The potion explodes in flames, causing them to scream and curse. The hostess stands next to her assistant, who holds a tray with the death ring. Hanji, still invisible, approaches her, with eyes fixed on the ring, thinking to himself that no one will take that ring today except him. He takes it and puts it on his finger, then moves behind Chun Hanji and throws a punch, thinking the arrogant Chun is the one getting hit. Now he strikes him in the back of the head, knocking him down. Si Tuan runs to Chun's side, asking if he's okay. Chun shouts into the air, demanding the fool who dared to hit him reveal himself. Hanji kicks both Chun and Si Tuan, knocking them down again, then puts his foot on Situan's chest to keep them down. Situan shouts, asking who ambushed them, since they can't see Hanji because of the invisibility. Chun swears that whoever keeps attacking him will die. The system bar informs Hanji that the invisibility potion will run out in 10 seconds. Realizing his time is short, Hanji decides to deal with Chun soon. Later, he activates his Golden Flash skill, doubling his speed, for 20 seconds and escapes immediately, leaving Qinglong and Dan Fong to keep stomping on Chun and Situan, along with the others. Chun angrily shouts, asking if they're blind, and demands they stop stepping on him. Situan, with tears in his eyes, shouts that he's from the human race and that they're attacking the wrong person. Once the invisibility potion fades, Hanji sends a message to the group chat reporting the mission is complete and asking them to retreat and to meet him in the alley in front of the auction house. Dan Fong and Dio reply agreeing to meet there later. Hanji waits in the alley in front of the auction house. As his teammates approach, Yunharu asks if he's okay, mentioning how worried she was when he suddenly disappeared. Hanji shows her the ring in the palm of his hand, saying he got it. But he explains that to protect the auction items, the system has implemented a seal. He tells them that if an item is privately removed from the auction, it will return to the owner's inventory in 3 minutes. They wonder if all their efforts were in vain, but Hanji reassures them, saying he will use the seal to track the thief and follow the item to the consignor's location. He sets the teleportation point to Beacon, and the system announces the point has been set. Hanji exclaims excitedly, impressing everyone with his cleverness, while Yao praises him, saying he knew he hadn't followed the wrong person. Hanji turns to Yunharu, assuring her he will return it. When the 3 minutes are about to expire, Hanji teleports to Beacon, thinking that today he will definitely expose the thief. Meanwhile, the ring suddenly appears in Dao's hand. The system informs her that the death ring has returned. Due to an incident at the auction house, she wonders why the ring came back and if Hanji's group is closing in on her. Just then, the ring glows and Hanji immediately appears in front of her. As the teleportation completes, he stares at her, saying he knew it was her, accusing her not only of stealing Yunharu's ring, but also of luring him into the Gods Guild's trap. He demands to know her plan. Dao smirks, arrogantly admitting she never thought she'd escape the Gods Guild, but admits she has some skill. Without warning, she turns and starts running. Hanji chases her, demanding she stop and hand over the ring. He declares she must explain herself today. Dao mocks him, saying he can only catch her in his dreams. Hanji grabs her hood, but she slips out. He growls, saying this time he won't let her escape so easily. They share a brief moment of silence before suddenly a huge axe flies toward them, smashing the stones on the ground. It's Chun shouting at Dao, asking why she stopped if she's so good at running. Chun's eyes widen, seeing Hanji with Dao, and he smiles maliciously, realizing the beast faction has a tracking ability that lets them follow a target's scent for over 1,000 miles. Chun laughs threateningly, saying he didn't waste time chasing her, but now he's glad to find them working together. He declares he'll take care of both at once. Hearing this, Hanji and Dao start running. Hanji asks how many people he's offended and why so many aliens. Since the Beast faction has unfinished business with her, she replies it was all a misunderstanding and, clutching his waist with tears in her eyes, calls him brother, begging him not to leave her behind. Annoyed, Hanji asks when he became her brother, reminding her he didn't think of it that way when she ambushed him. Chun charges at them with his axe, shouting how dare they flirt in front of him, and declares they can die together. He swings his axe violently, causing the surroundings to glow with a bright orange light. A giant beast appears behind him. Hanji recalls the girl called him brother before, but she vanished as soon as danger appeared. Chun attacks Hanji, shouting he'll show him what happens when someone dares to challenge him. The system announces that the player, Hanji, has been hit by beast skin charge detecting he has 800 health points remaining. Hanji falls to the ground, clutching his stomach in pain. He realizes Chun's attack is extremely high, while the base defense of the beast Tamer is too low, causing a huge health loss in one hit. Hanji jumps to the edge of a rooftop and glares at Chun, who still holds the axe in his hand. Chun yells at Hanji to hand over the girl, kneel down, and apologize so he might consider sparing his life. He accuses him, saying he saw him and the girl hugging passionately. Hanji looks at him surprised and confused, demanding to know when he supposedly saw them being intimate. He warns him to stop talking nonsense, or he'll sue him. Chun replies shouting that he clearly saw what they were doing, just moments ago, recalling the scene where Hanji and the girl were sitting on the edge of the rooftop, and Hanji was touching her chin. Chun recognizes the girl's familiar scent and wonders if she's the same one who escaped earlier. He curses under his breath, thinking they were acting so intimately in a place like that. After his accusations, Chun mocks, saying if he hadn't shown up, who knows what Hanji and the girl would be doing now. Hanji sarcastically mocks Chun, saying, "My respect your trolling is on another level." Then he switches his attribute and attacks Chun with his sword, asking if he's some hopeless romantic in disguise. The system announces that the player, Chun, has taken burn damage, losing 300 health points. Chun smirks arrogantly at Hanji, declaring that it was nothing, just a superficial wound, and that he can take it as a gift from him. Then he launches blue energy at Hanji, saying he'll show him the difference in their powers. As Chun approaches, his eyes suddenly light up with bright energy, and without warning, burning yellow energy begins to surround Hanji. He wonders what's happening, since he's using the same skill, but the damage keeps increasing. Chun laughs, saying he forgot to mention that the lower his HP is, the higher his damage gets. Hanji immediately drinks an advanced health potion. The system reports he recovered several hundred points. Chun glares at Hanji angrily and tries to hit him, but misses. Hanji stands tall and crosses his arms, mocking Chun and asking why he stopped attacking. Then Hanji smiles maliciously and says that since he's more generous than Chun, he'll deal 1,000 damage to himself. Chun grips his axe tightly, shouting that's impossible and that he almost died. The girl watches the situation and warns Hanji that no matter how many potions he has, they won't help if Chun uses that move again. She glares at Hanji, saying having an advanced HP potion won't save him, and that the real fight is just beginning. He activates his bloodthirsty frenzy power, and bright pink lightning starts to surround him, making him look even more terrifying as he gains several hundred HP. Hanji is surprised and asks why his HP is increasing. From Chun, Hanji steps back and grabs a green potion, realizing he never expected you to have an epic talent that lets him recover HP, causing damage. Chun slowly approaches Hanji with his glowing pink axe and tells him that today he'll teach him the consequences of offending the blood sect. Angie is on the rooftop edge, looking down at Chun and mocks him, saying relying on potions for a war of attrition is useless. Then she challenges Chun, asking if he really thinks his bloodthirsty frenzy is invincible. Hanji faces an opponent who can absorb his health, but he has a smart trick. Instead of avoiding damage, he purposely lets himself get hit and drinks a powerful poison potion. His enemy, thinking he has the advantage, absorbs the poisoned HP unknowingly. Too late. He realizes he's losing 200 HP per second for a full minute. Hanji mocks him, offering even more poison. Trapped by his own skill, the enemy regrets falling into the trap, realizing Hanji had planned it all from the start. Afterwards, Hanji's health is dangerously low, but he has a plan he activates, his immortality skill, which lets him survive just long enough for the poison to finish off his opponent. His enemy, desperate to recover, realizes his health is dropping faster than he can heal. Hanji then offers to sell him an advanced HP potion. The enemy gets furious, realizing he overpaid, but before he can react, the poison takes full effect and paralyzes him. Then Yebu attacks, ready to end the fight. Player Daegi, Player Moon, revives in Frostpeak City because he had a resurrection chance. Angry from losing, he promises to get revenge on Hanji. He insists he has no connection to the girl, but knows no one will believe him. His poison starts to fade just as she returns. He asks why she came back thinking she had fled, but she denies it, saying she stayed because her enemies came to kill her. Someone watching from behind comments on how lucky Hanji is to have such a beautiful partner. Meanwhile, the enemies panic, seeing their supposed strongest leader is dead. One of them, realizing he backed the wrong side, tries to escape, but Hanji stops him, saying they haven't settled their scores yet. Hanji demands to know why the Beast faction is in Dawn City. Yanshito trembles and reveals they were after Yebu to recover a special card. Hanji wonders what kind of card could be so valuable that they'd chase her all the way there. Then Yebu casually pulls out the card, saying she got it after killing someone in Frostpeak City, and to her it's just a shiny object with no real use. But Hanji immediately recognises it as a divine talent card. Also, he realises that each player can only have one talent, which could explain why she hasn't been able to activate it. She doesn't seem to know its true value. Then Hanji understands she got the card by killing someone, which means the rumours were true. Divine talent cards can be obtained by eliminating their owners. Hanji learns that divine talents can be transferred to other players, but only by killing the previous owner. Also, Yanshito begs for his life, insisting he has already shared everything he knows. However, Hanji refuses to let him go since he has seen the card, and he kills him, making sure the secret dies with him. Afterwards, Yebu asks Hanji if he's not afraid she might kill him. He replies that she's smart and that the blood sect is now after both of them. Besides keeping Hanji alive, might help divert the enemy's fire. Hanji is curious about the divine talent hidden inside the card, wondering how powerful it could be. He also offers her a new deal. If she hands over the Ring of Death, along with the card, they can settle things peacefully. Then she wonders why he's so desperate for the ring, suspecting it once belonged to someone important to him. Hanji confirms his promise to return it. Afterwards, Yebu hands over the ring, but insists on keeping the divine talent card for herself. Hanji's business partner warns him to keep the golden card a secret and urges him to leave quickly. The blood sect won't let this matter slide and will soon come for revenge. However, Hanji remains confident, unafraid, believing that even their strongest member won't be able to defeat him. Meanwhile, the Beast faction proves to be fierce and strong, not only resilient, but also cunning. They had ambushed their enemies while the guild leader was away. Yunharu wonders what might be happening on the guild leader's side. Suddenly, a shout goes out, a warning that Yunharu is in danger, but before the enemy can attack, Hanji intervenes and saves Yunharu. He also informs them that their leader has already been sent back to Ice Peak City and they will soon join him. The guild leader arrives and his team greets him with concern. Hanji assures them he is unharmed. Although escaping the Beast faction was tough later, Hanji returns the ring to Yunharu, keeping his promise. She always believed he would succeed. With many players reaching level 50, they need to train harder to keep up. Everyone is eager to advance. A teammate boasts that soon he'll be strong enough to defeat monsters with a single hit. However, great fortune often brings greater danger. Now that Hanji knows the truth about divine talents, both he and Yunharu and Uhan are at risk. If others discover this secret, they will become targets. Determined to grow stronger before that happens, Hanji finally reaches level 50 and unlocks a new mission to advance his class. His stats show he is a beast tamer of the dragon race, gifted with the rare skill, "What's yours is mine." However, he has no extra lives left, making every battle a risk. After dealing with the blood sect for so long, he has finally caught up to the highest level players. In the crowded streets of Dawn City, his team looks to him for guidance. They've reached the highest level for now. So what's the next step? Hanji answers that. To become even stronger, the team must raise their level cap. The only way to do that is by completing their second class change. Level 50 isn't enough for Hanji to get his revenge, and Yunharu and the others also need to improve. Outside the class change hall, players attempting the class change exam are knocked down one after another because the challenge is too hard and the 20,000 point requirement seems impossible to meet. The players frustratedly complain about wasting their gold on the exam fee only to be defeated. Also, some regret spending money just to get beaten up. In the Dawn City trial grounds, players gather watching the challenge. A confident girl steps forward asking if anyone dares to face her. Then Hanji steps up, determined to take the test. He also reminds her that in the apocalypse, raw stats alone don't guarantee victory. Skills and strategy matter just as much. Plus, the key is knowing how to use abilities effectively. Above them, a small machine floats tracking every move. The class change mission requires players to be level 50. The challenge is an individual test with an entry fee of 100 gold. To pass, they must fight the trial instructor, earning points by dodging attacks or landing hits. Scoring 20,000 points in 10 minutes is the goal. Also, success unlocks the ability to level up to 70 and grants new class-specific skills. The machine above calculates every action, determining pass or fail. The trial begins, and Hanji makes his move. Instead of charging in immediately, he cleverly avoids melee combat, knowing it's a risky strategy against a fighter with impressive speed. He keeps his distance and unleashes a powerful attack lightning chain, reminding her to try some electricity. Then the system registers his actions. Dodging an attack grants 1,000 points, and landing a skill hit gives another 1,000. His score jumps to 2,000 in an instant. The spectators are surprised because they didn't expect him to score so fast. Some who doubted his abilities now see his skill in action. Yebu realises she underestimated her opponent and decides to step up her game. Then she swings her weapon, the Void Warhammer, only for it to vanish in midair. Confusion spreads as no one can tell where the Warhammer went. The Void Warhammer strikes, causing a loss of 2,000 points. The trial instructor proves to be a tough opponent, making the challenge even harder. Guild members watch with concern, unsure if their leader will pass. However, Yunharu stays confident, knowing Hanji always finds a way to succeed, no matter how tough the situation. Determined to win, Hanji avoids giving more openings for attacks. In his past life, he failed this challenge over 200 times, but those attempts gave him the battle knowledge he needs. Now, using his Beast to Mare skill shared vision, he sees through the eyes of his summoned creatures. With their help, he dodges attacks and scores points. Yebu becomes suspicious and realises something is helping him predict her moves. She also notices the summoned crows and quickly shifts strategy, preventing him from gaining more points by dodging. Realising she must end the fight fast, Hanji makes his final move. The system announces his victory, stating he has completed the class change mission. Now, as an advanced Beast to Mare, he is stronger than ever. Guild members applaud, surprised by his 22,000 point score. Meanwhile, in Moon City, a powerful enemy prepares to attack with the best gear in the game. She sees this as the perfect moment to take down Hanji. Moon doesn't go alone. She receives support from seasoned fighters who have battled Hanji before. With new gear and recent level ups, they're expected to succeed in this mission. They follow Moon's lead and confirm their orders. Determined to finish the task before leaving, they receive a special scroll that Yebu uses only once in emergencies. With everything set, they begin their journey to Dawn City. Moon is determined to make Hanji regret becoming her enemy. Meanwhile, in Dawn City, Hanji and his team enjoy a barbecue. Hanji also agrees it's the best he's had in the apocalypse. The conversation turns to training. While the others prepare for their class change trials, she promises to complete the tests soon and catch up to Hanji. One of them whispers, asking about her new class change skills, to which Hanji agrees to demonstrate them during their next dungeon raid. Afterwards, Hanji checks his newly unlocked skills, eager to master them. One stands out: demonic substitution, which allows him to escape control effects by leaving behind a substitute that spreads fear among enemies when attacked with a 30-minute cooldown. This skill will be a valuable tool in battle. Hanji's enemies finally catch up to him. Among them are players from the Baying Guild, now working alongside Moon. Hanji wonders how they ended up as allies. Then Moon steps forward. Jack asks why Lucien is wasting his last moments instead of using them wisely. Moon reminds him that he escaped last time, but luck won't save him again. Ignoring the threat, Wen takes control, giving instructions to her group. 4 of them will handle the others, while she personally faces Hanji. A Chinda sword wielder steps forward confidently, eager to test his strength. Moving at incredible speed, he strikes first. Despite his quick attacks, Moon reacts even faster, taking control of the fight. Meanwhile, Yao Yao is in danger, screaming for help. Someone warns her of an ambush ahead. Then Hanji is caught by Shadowbind, a high-level control skill. A dark shadow appears beneath him, freezing his movements for 10 seconds, leaving him completely defenseless. Additionally, Hanji's enemies surround him, reminding him he's alone with Sadobin still active. He can't move, making him an easy target. His opponent eagerly watches to see if he can still fight. In an instant, demonic substitution activates and Hanji vanishes, leaving a decoy in his place. Moon realizes too late that she's fallen into a trap. Before Moon can react, Chain Lightning activates. However, to Hanji's surprise, Moon remains unharmed despite the direct hit. Plus, she's wearing the best armor of the entire apocalypse and believes no ordinary attack can hurt her. She prepares to unleash her strongest skill and activates Celestial Star Purgatory. Hanji narrowly dodges an attack with Blackie's help and counters using Chaos Wings, sending sharp wind blades toward Lucien. Also, Lucien is shocked to see Hanji now commanding a level 2 Emperor Dragon, showing a huge difference in strength. Then Hanji declares that Lucien will always be beneath him. Frustrated Moon realizes too late that Hanji has completed his second-class advancement. Desperate, he recalls the single-use scroll that might give him a chance to counterattack. Reluctant to accept defeat, Moon activates a special skill, challenging Hanji to show his true strength. Confident that Carol's info is accurate, he believes he can even take down Hanji's level 2 Emperor Dragon. He threatens Hanji, declaring today will be his last. Holding Chao dares Yunharu to try to rescue her. In response, Yunharu attacks him, and he quickly calls his skeleton ally for support. Then Yunharu attacks them again, with arrows breaking their spiked bone barrier. The opponents try to capture Yao Yao, but Yunharu rescues her just in time. On the other side, Danfeng confidently claims he will end the battle, but his opponent laughs and strikes first. However, Danfeng skillfully uses his swords to knock down one enemy, leaving 3 still standing. Just when they think they're winning, the enemies reveal their true plan. Their real target was Hanji, and suddenly something goes wrong. His team realizes too late that this was all a trap, and Hanji is now in grave danger. A loud voice interrupts, demanding peace while trying to enjoy a meal. However, the fight continues. Hanji is being chased with his enemies determined not to let him escape. Then, he orders Blackie to move away from crowded areas, knowing that the powerful attacks of a level 4 Emperor Dragon could cause massive destruction. Realizing dodging won't help, he decides to counterattack with full confidence. He trusts Blackie and prepares for battle. Blackie signals the start of their counterattack. It's time to settle all past conflicts once and for all. Moon is confused whether they are overestimating his skills or underestimating him. He thinks the breadth of the level they are going to annihilate them all, and even if they have immortality, their magical beast won't survive the dragon's breath. A notification appears, indicating that the player Hanji has taken damage from a grade 4 dragon, and the Emperor's breath reduced 50 HP. Soul Link, an exclusive skill of a second-tier beast tamer, when activated transfers damage received by the magical beast to the beast tamer for 60 seconds, and the cooldown is 3 hours. As long as Xian's immortality isn't depleted, Blackie will be invincible. He orders Blackie to attack with his right wing because according to him, a dragon's wing is the weakest point of its body, and once damaged, the dragon will lose mobility. That's the best way to limit its attacks. The notification shows that the Grade 4 dragon was damaged by Blackie's claw attack. Hanji senses that the Grade 4 Emperor Dragon is acting strange since it lost 500 HP from its breath, but lost 1500 HP from Blackie's claw attack, meaning the grade dragon's damage is lower than usual, and it's taking more damage, which seems like an illusion, because only illusions cause so little damage while receiving more damage from attacks. This made him think it's not a real Grade 4 Emperor Dragon, but an illusion created through a summoning contract. Summoning by contract uses a contract with a high-level monster to summon its illusion for battle, and the stronger the summoned monster, the higher the price, and smaller costs result in physical damage, while higher costs can result in one's spirit being consumed. Moon is confused about what's happening to him, and in that case, the appearance of the Divine Guide's minions and the scroll makes sense to him, and he thinks Carol is using the Fool to deal with him. Hanji asks Lu Chen if it seems like he doesn't understand the consequences of using the scroll, but he doesn't admit it, since he knows he wouldn't lie to him. By then, Moon had become much stronger, and didn't want it all to end like this. Hanji asks him to look at his weak body, which is the price for using summoning by contract, and it makes him realise he's been a pawn from the start. Moon threatens him, saying that if he's going to die, he'll drag them all down with him, since he's sacrificed all his power to the great Emperor Dragon. And that madman is ready to fuse with the Emperor Dragon's illusion and plans to turn the whole city into hell. Everyone starts panicking and shouting at each other to run since there's a madman killing everyone. Hanji is shocked and tells Lucan that even though he's at death's door, he still doesn't regret it and blames himself for not seeing his true nature sooner. Moon asks what would happen if Hanji were a regressor and asks if he would kill him if he had another chance. But this time, Lu Chen is the one who will kill him. Blackie grabs Hanji because he thinks Moon is completely crazy and has lost all senses. And as long as Hanji can destroy the scroll, he can cut the connection between the main body and the illusion, which will make the illusion disappear. He wants Blackie to cover him and attack Lu Chen, but instead, Blackie gets injured saving Hanji. Yao asks Hanji if he's okay and apologises for being late. Hanji points out that Blackie has suffered critical injuries saving him and is looking for a way to heal him. Also, the person who orchestrated all this will definitely pay. Outside in Dawn City, in the quiet forest, Hanji runs quickly while Yunharu follows closely behind. She wonders what he's doing so early in the forest. Hanji keeps running toward his goal, thinking about Blackie's injury and the extremely rare resurrection potion in the apocalypse, which can heal any wound, no matter how severe. He murmurs to himself that Blackie is already in a weakened state, meaning he has received critical damage and is close to death. Normal healing potions are practically useless, and if he wants to save Blackie, he has to get that potion. Hanji, normal healing potions are practically useless, and if he wants to save Blackie, he has to get that potion. Hanji thinks about how he can't summon Blackie in his weakened state. Suddenly, he stops, realising the resurrection potion can only be obtained by completing the potion-making task with the herbologist. Levia saying they finally meet again. Levia is crouched down, playing with a plant between her fingers. At that moment, he remembers the last time he gathered everything she needed and asked her for the resurrection potion. Before collapsing onto her, he recalls how Levia made the potion and gave it to him. Levia turns around, sensing his presence, and asks if he's looking for her. He urgently asks her to give him the mission to create the resurrection potion. Levia, confused, asks how he knows she's researching the resurrection potion. He quickly replies, "It's not important," and asks for her journal so he can save Blackie. Levia shows him the journal and asks if this is what he's looking for. She continues explaining, but he interrupts her, finishing her sentence, saying he knows the journal contains clues on where to find the 3 rare materials and that she can make the resurrection potion if he brings them to her. He takes the journal from her hands and tells her he already knows the dialogue. Levia asks how he knew what he was going to say, but Hanji just turns around and thanks her. A notification appears indicating his mission has started and the instructions tell him what to do. He thinks the first part of the mission is to get the life essence from the Demon Tower. It seems he has to make another trip there. Levia warns him that these 3 items are hard to obtain, and if he goes alone, it could take at least half a month to return. Hanji, with a determined expression, tells her he'll be back soon with the item. Behind one of the trees, Yao watches the scene unfold. She wonders if Hanji is doing all this to save Blackie and questions how he knows about this method. Suddenly, with a somber expression, she thinks about how Hanji is always one step ahead, and since she also wants to help him with determination, she promises herself she will find the other 2 items and begins to follow him. The Demon Tower opens as Hanji runs through the crowd, pushing people aside. Someone calls out to him, but all he can think about is his promise to Blackie. He swears he will definitely make the resurrection potion and heal him. He forcefully strikes the door and orders it to open, saying he's in a hurry. The door slams open as the demon warrior shouts, demanding to know which fool dares to interrupt him